Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will not be your friendly dungeon master today because, you see, today we are continuing on with session 3 of our ongoing campaign, playing Cubicle 7's very cool One Ring role-playing game. Clever viewers may notice that this cover I'm holding up will not age well because the second edition will be coming out presently. But we're playing the first edition of the One Ring RPG, and our lore master today is, of course, Arlen Walker, who's slamming back drinks. And I will say from the outset that at the time of recording, I currently have the blood of 2 of his player characters on my hands.
Within 24 hours.
If things turn horribly south for our stalwart hobbit adventurer, then I think we know that comeuppance has come home to roost. So with that, I will toss it over to you, Arlen.
Yeah. Hi, guys. You'd be proud of me, Kevin. As we keep playing, I keep accumulating more and more books on my stack that I have next to me. They're all for the same game, so I haven't reached the point of, having Pathfinder and First Edition and Second Edition and all of those. But I do have 4 books sitting on my desk in addition to my GM screen and my dice.
Excellent.
So we are once again playing the One Ring. We have, I will let a player describe what happened last time, if someone would like to. And that'll be also good to fill in Volley, who is played by Dave Aldridge, who is our newest addition to the Fellowship. And we're going to do some sneaky rewinding and fast forwarding to introduce him to the group. But who wants to tell us what happened last time?
It'd probably need to be a group effort. But basically, we had a council with Elrond. Was it Elrond himself?
It was Elrond himself.
Yeah, okay. So who deigned to speak with us, which is nice in the first place. But he asked if we would carry out a very significant mission in the battle against the Shadow, which was to retrieve an ancient artifact, a ring that was wrought by, is it Curdon? No, that's the shipwright. By one of the ancient elven smiths, which turns out to be the Ring of Barahir, which, for those familiar with the lore, is a very important item in the history of Middle-earth. However, it is very far from there it is, very far from where we started out in Rivendell. In fact, it's in a small village to the northwest on the Bay of Forochel.
Amongst the Lasoth.
Yeah, that's right. And so we traveled the road until we reached Bree, at which point we went to the Prancing Pony, and Rufus led the group in having a jovial time, which we decided on the way back we'll have to return for more of the same.
Maybe we help if we introduce who we're playing too.
Oh, that's true too.
That would be good too. Let's just go right into there because we're going to start in Bree actually, and then fast forward to the Lasoth. So we'll go in the order that I've got you on the screen. So George, why don't you introduce who you're playing?
So I'm playing Baranor Nuengiliath, who is a Dunedain. He goes more commonly by the name Finder, and he bears a very important blade that you will most likely see in the session, but he is not someone who believes in himself as a worthy man of the West. So while he's often called on for leadership duties, he's reluctant to engage in them.
All right. Kevin, you want to tell us who you are, who you're playing?
Sure. So I'm playing Rufus Burrows, who is an hobbit from the Shire, and he likes apples. He likes his friends, and I think that's it.
All right. Jonathan?
Alrighty.
He's a simple one.
That's all he needs.
I'm playing Cleona, also known as the Short of Temper. She's a Dunderling warden from the southern reaches of the Misty Mountains, and she uses a great axe, sized a little bit too large for her, and she tends to rush in a battle and she savors it. It's a little scary sometimes.
And she's a mother now, isn't she?
She is. She got a 5-year-old up in the halls of the Beornings.
Yeah.
So.
Colin? Oh, I cannot hear Colin.
Yeah, he's decided not to.
Them elves are so quiet, you can't even hear him talking.
He doesn't have a vast amount to say, but I'm playing Orphin, a Mirkwood elf, a warden of the green ways, and a keeper of the faith.
Excellent. And then
And my chosen weapon is the bow.
Yes. And then Dave, why don't you tell us who you are, who you're playing?
So there I am. I'm Varley. I'm a jovial dwarf. I am all that is best in dwarves and none of their vices. I am jovial. I am outgoing. I am cheerful. I enjoy carousing. I'm not in the least bit gruff or argumentative.
If you don't drink, I don't like you.
Excellent. So I'll just tell you, I'm going to railroad you guys onto the path of having Volley join the fellowship in Bree. So how do you think you made friends with Volley?
I beat him in an arm wrestling contest.
An arm wrestling contest? That sounds good.
I think he wouldn't have any of our Burrows cider. That's quite unusual for a dwarf. Finder, have you seen this one? He doesn't drink at all.
I find it oddly disconcerting, actually.
Oh, I think it's quite all right.
Yeah, on the hearing that a dwarf doesn't like to drink, I challenge him to an arm wrestling contest.
I think
Prove his dwarfishness.
Bappy Burrows says, better to have a dwarf who doesn't drink than one that can't handle his.
So let's do the arm wrestling contest out. Why don't you guys both roll athletics to see? And this will get us into talking about how we roll things. Because if you remember, there's a unique rolling mechanic to this game. What you do is for every roll you make, you roll a 12-sided die called a feat die, this kind, and then you roll a certain number of 6-sided dice called success dice. And you add up the total, and that gives you, if you beat the target number, you get a success. If you do not beat the target number, you get a failure. If you, in addition to rolling high enough on the total numbers, get 6s, 1 6 is a great success, and 2 6s is an extraordinary success. And then the 12-sided die, it actually is numbered 1 through 10. And then there are 2 other things on it. One is an Eye of Sauron, which you won't be able to see, but I'm going to hold it up anyway. And the other is a Gandalf rune. If you get a Gandalf rune, you succeed automatically, no matter what you were trying to do. If you get an Eye of Sauron, it counts as 0. And as we talked about last time, Sauron has returned to Mordor by this point, and his will works in the world in nasty ways. And as you roll Eyes of Sauron, his will moves further towards being able to cause harm to your party. So best not to roll Eyes of Sauron. So,
yeah.
Alrighty.
Do I need to enter the target number?
Target number of 14.
Okay.
Fine.
Because that's the standard.
Can I invoke one of my features in this?
Oh, there you go. That's an auto success there.
I'm going to invoke my fierce feature.
You can invoke your fierce trait. So this is a great example because what we get to talk about is, so Volley, Dave's character, rolled a Gandalf rune, which means he automatically succeeded at the roll. Cleona rolled relatively poorly on the feat die, but rolled well on the success dice, and so got a total of 11. So this is a situation where, because it's an opposed roll and we have 2 different outcomes, we have a surprising turn of events where Volley, who is not as much of an athletic competitor as Cleona, is actually able to, after a great struggle, wrestle Cleona's arm down and wins the competition because he got a success and Cleona did not.
I drank too
Can I
much.
invoke my willful trait here because I'm so willful and that's why it happened? And maybe I get an advancement point, or am I just being cheeky? I don't know.
So that is a great discussion. So we talked about traits a little last time, but there are 3 ways that you can use traits. One is for an automatic success when you think you have a trait and therefore you should be able to just succeed. One is to take an action when you wouldn't otherwise be able to because you think your trait gives you whatever type of initiative or heroic agency to do that. And the third is to get an advancement point when it is related to your trait and you succeed at something. So if we were playing a long-term game, no, Dave, I would not give you an advancement point for being willful and winning the arm wrestling contest, although that is a great attempt. We're not playing I had mentioned last time, serious and long-term. We are playing a serious game, but it's not so much of a long-term one, although we'll see when the 2nd edition comes out if we get the gang back together. So you do not need to mark any advancement points because there won't be a whole lot of advancement. So, Cleona, what are you thinking, having been beaten by this dwarf that doesn't drink?
I think I've had too much.
You've had too much. That's probably the case.
I offer to braid his beard.
I'll have one of your local weak beers. That's fine. That doesn't even count.
No, I point at Rufus. It's time to even odds and try again. Let him try some of your flask, Rufus. If he's dwarf enough for
I
it.
don't carry a flask. I carry we've got a keg of cider here. Volley, have you changed your mind then? Have you suddenly fallen off your little dwarf wagon?
I think that whole not drinking thing was all a misunderstanding. I'm happy to have your cider.
Well, then let us win me on me then.
Well, then Clarence claps him on the back because that's a dwarf.
I'll get him a good-sized point of Pappy Burrows' famous reserve. I hope you enjoy this.
Count me in also, Rufus, with the Pappy Burrows.
Or if it like, I'd leave you out. Have you gone empty then? Come here, you. I go walking over with more of my pitcher. Finder, do you need a top up?
So when you see me, you notice that I've sort of been like a little bit in the background, just constantly scoping out the place, watching who's coming and going, like on the lookout with what's going on in the world. No, not at all. Like you just see that he's not paying attention, and he kind of recognizes that somebody's talking to him. He says, "Oh, sorry, Rufus. Oh, yes, I would love one."
There you are. Cleona, I think you might have had enough.
No.
All right.
Oh, point of no return.
And then, who we have in next? Oh, I think that's everyone.
All right. Excellent. So a night of drinking and friendship making with Volley the dwarf. And Volley, I assume that these characters, they're going to offer for you to come along with the fellowship to way up here in the Bay of Forochel.
Well, come with us. There's certain glory involved.
Didn't you say you always wanted to see seals? Or sea lions? I think Dave might be having some connection issues.
Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah.
Dave is frozen.
He's staying very still.
Oh, Dave, are you back now? Dave, can you hear us?
I think he's reconnecting.
Yeah.
He's moving again on the Hangout.
Yeah. I ran off for 2 seconds because the doorbell rang, and
well, look at that.
a different crossover universe.
I can't wait to see Finder use his lightsaber.
And then this morning I ordered collapse then a separatist book.
Oh,
Nice.
You gotta stop talking to me about these things.
Well, one of us has actually been employed by a role-playing company making Star Wars
Yeah.
stuff, so
Well,
think-
okay, that's
you probably have priority.
that's fair. Did Dave describe what Valley looked like?
So we have a picture of Valley that I can
Oh,
show
great.
you guys.
Perfect.
One second
Show the
here.
players. He's
Cool.
the generic dwarf art for a dwarf of Erebor.
Dave, can you hear us again?
He needs
I can hear Dave moving around. I just can't, and I can
Oh.
see him. Dave, can you hear us?
Oh,
Hello, Dave.
Oh yeah, I see him in Google Hangouts.
I see him in the hangout.
Not in
I just don't hear him.
I heard him moving.
I heard him moving.
I heard him moving too.
Oh, and he's back again. Oh, and he's gone. Hey, he's back. Dave, can you hear us?
I'm very sorry. I'm back. I think it's better now.
No,
Oh,
It
that's
is,
quite all right.
it is no trouble at all.
Yeah, we can hear
Wow,
you now.
way to build the suspense there, Dave. Nice move, mate.
Excellent. So everybody other than Valley has already made their travel rolls for traveling up along the Greenway, past the ruins of Fornost Erain, and through the Lone Lands up to this red X on the Bay of Forochel. So we're going to talk about the travel rules, Dave. What you do is you make a series of rolls with your travel skill. So that's the feat die plus a number of success die versus a target number based on the terrain that you are traveling through. And that every time you fail, you will gain your travel in. Oh, Dave dropped out of the hangout.
He just went traveling.
Dave's gone traveling. Well,
Dave's
Valley's
gone
quite stealthy. Oravir, I thought you were Orphin. I thought you were quite quiet.
I'm all right.
Oh no, that dwarves are even more stealthy than elves.
So it would appear.
It's quite.
And-
See, they're moving underground, you see.
Ah, of course.
We had
in a tunnel.
taken, or some of us had taken some exhaustion. So I'm assuming we're going to start off back where we left off. Once
So we're
resume
going to
to-
assume that, we're starting off back where you left off with the loss off. The travel rolls that we made last time will count for you guys,
Cool.
and the travel rolls that Valley makes. And if Dave does not pop up soon, I can make some travel rolls for him so that we can do the loss off thing.
Cool.
But I'm going to give him a minute to come back.
Sure.
While we're gone, do you want to do more role playing at Bree?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do some.
What were you
I'll
looking
do
for
some
there?
arm wrestling.
Pointer,
I'll
what were you
arm
looking-
wrestle you, Rufus. Come on, old son.
Arm wrestle? What?
Yeah.
Oh, this is so savage. You're quite uncivilized. These
I'll
arms
go
are
easy
made
on
for
you.
picking apples, not for trying to messle things over.
I bet a few coins on Rufus winning.
Oh, let's give it a try.
We just have a sporting arm wrestle.
As Pappy says, even stumps are stronger than you look. So let's see. What am I rolling?
Athletics at
Athletics.
TN14.
All right, then. Let's see how we do. Target number 14. Right, let's do this. Oh, I got a 7, so I think I got thrown under the table. Orphin, you're quite good at that.
Did you start yet, Rufus?
I'm up on the table pushing at your arm. I'm going to the other side and try to pull it over. Oh, this weed just won't come out.
You're not heavy enough, Rufus. Take another drink.
Oh, I think so. I think I pulled something there too. Oh, Orphin, you are a lot stronger than you look. Either that or I'm a lot weaker than I thought.
No.
Does the Prancing Pony or any of the regions that we've been passing through Arlen seem any different in the 4 or 5 years or so since we set out as a fellowship in terms of the darkness, like, or even a sense or the way that all the races, I guess, are reacting subconsciously.
As an hot topic opened up.
No hot topics in Bree, but I think it's hard for you to tell what is changed to the world and what is changed to you.
Yeah.
You have, in the same way that the world has grown kind of darker and wearier in the 5 years, you have definitely grown the same way. And so you're not sure if the last time you're here were there as many kind of hushed voices in the Prancing Pony. Were there quite so many people with their hoods up and kind of down in their cups, the way that people who perhaps have unsavory thoughts can be, and you can't help but think that what if some of these are servants of the shadow, and perhaps even there's a sort of flash, a moment where you remember seeing that robed and hooded figure in the Cold Fells that first sent you on the quest, and you very quickly realize, of course, it's not a Nazgul in the Prancing Pony. That would be ridiculous. But you cannot help but
like I'm staring at him, and like we the audience hear like the sounds of like hissing, like
we hear
the
a
language of Mordor, the black speech. But I know it's my imagination.
We see you kind of reach down and hold onto the hilt of Endun Estel and tighten your grip on it for just a moment before you realize, of course, that there's nothing sinister going on at all. It's just
when Rufus kind of comes tumbling past, it kind of snaps me out of it. Are you okay, Rufus?
I am, though I wouldn't recommend betting on me in another arm wrestling match.
Let me help you up then.
All right.
Stand you back up.
Thank you, young man.
I see our friend here, our new friend, has rejoined us.
All right, me lovelies.
Nathan
Ali,
calls
are
when
you
it calls.
back?
Dave is back in Roll20, but not in the Hangouts.
All right.
Gotcha.
So
Maybe
we'll see.
post a link to it again.
Yeah,
it's right up there.
I'll post another link.
Here we go.
There
I
he
say,
is.
when you're talking about Nazguls, it's all I had to restrain myself from doing that whispery Nazgul. I fucking love that.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
Sorry, guys.
No
worries. No worries at all.
It's totally fine. And this is
you integrated me. You got me in, yeah?
Yeah, we integrated you. We did some role playing in Bree, and we have all been enjoying doing that. I think seems like
any excuse to do some more role playing is always good.
Yeah. So everybody else has already made their travel rolls to make it to the Bay of Forochel, Dave.
Wonderful.
So you will make your travel rolls. So you're going to make a total of 4 rolls. You just click on the die and tell it the target number. The first one's going to be at TN 14, and the next 3 are going to be at TN 16. So that's a failure.
That's not good.
That's not good, is it? So I can spend a hope?
You could, but it's not worth it here.
Okay.
All that failing the travel roll does is that your travel fatigue goes up by the rating of your traveling gear, which is an encumbrance of 2. So you'll just add 2 to your travel fatigue.
Okay, I've got various tweaks there anyway. All right, what's the next one?
So 3 more, all of them at 16. And this is not quite enough.
This is hard going, Valley.
Yeah, Valley.
I've only got short legs.
Oh, yeah, you know that problem.
And this is about the point you're passing by ruined Fornost.
He's got his
I'll show
win
that to the
finally.
players right here.
yeah.
And then you're into the Lone Lands, and we did another roll at TN16, a success this time.
One more at 16.
Oh
Ooh.
no!
A failure and an eye.
I wish I didn't come back.
All right.
So,
Which brings to mind the quote: "Dwarves are not natural sprinters, good over short distances."
Right, exactly.
dwarves are not natural sprinters. They are
That's
good over
true.
short
That's
distances.
true.
Short distances.
So now I need to randomly generate a hazard because
Yeah, that went well last time.
Battle,
Yeah.
battle, battle.
Actually,
Yeah,
this is the mechanic I wanted to explore anyway. This is what
Yeah.
pulled me into the whole
Well,
thing.
remember, he's not famous yet with Sauron, so this shouldn't be a problem.
True.
He's unknown.
he is. Well, his eye has changed Sauron.
What
He-
was
he-
our roll?
Hmm?
What were our rolls?
Are your travel rolls?
Right.
Way up
Yes. So let me pull you over to the Weathertop page so you can look at the travel. So Valley, we need you to decide: are you going to help with the hunting with Cleona? Are you going to help scouting with Rufus? Or are you going to be help being a lookout man with Orphin?
Okay, so so normally you have a job kind of sorted, don't you? So I'm good at.
Which maybe Arlen, if you could talk about what skills are
Relevant
linked to
skill, yeah.
what things that might help us.
So we have Finder as the guide who uses travel as his primary role. We have Rufus as the scout, and he uses explorer. We have Cleona as the huntsman, and she uses hunting. And we have Orphin as the lookout man, and he uses awareness.
Okay, so I've got some awareness and explore, but no hunting.
Okay,
Is this
so
right?
Keep the Hobbit company. He's a ranged guy, and
Fine.
excellent. So you can click on your token, this little valley, and you can drag yourself onto the scout section. And I'll move over Rufus so you have room.
the elves'
yes,
keen
I see.
elven eye should be enough for a watch out.
Right.
Cool.
But
I don't take up that much room. You can walk next to me there, Diwali.
And the scouts are low to the ground and not tend to be seen.
That's true.
Okay, so
Arlen, would you say that result was interesting?
it was interesting. I'm gonna just make the die roll sound a couple more times because I know you don't get it often enough. Cleona, you are near the Bay of Forochel. You know that you're close when something happens while hunting. You stray too far while going out, perhaps, and you find yourself lost in the wilderness for some time. You're going to have to make a hunting roll to get back to the group.
Okay.
A hunting roll at TN16.
Finder, it's been a while since Cleona's gone. Are you sure she knows where we're going?
I thought she did, but you're
So-
right. It's been a while.
Can I invoke my tracking skill in order to follow my own tracks back if that thing happens?
I'll let you reduce the difficulty to TN12 for that.
Okay, that'll work. Ooh, great
Excellent.
success.
I will put you in the loop, George.
Thank you.
Excellent. So you successfully find the shortest path back. You come back up. Everybody's a little surprised because you've been gone for a little while. But you have avoided wandering through the wilderness with no food or water for a while, which would add to your fatigue.
I don't need more of that.
Yes, and you don't ignore your fatigue. So that's the most eventful thing that happens on the last day. And then the next day, I've told everybody this already, but our picture of Forochel is in the winter because it's a cold place, and so they only take pictures of it during the winter. You can imagine it being more kind of northern Canada, kind of open tundra. Like
I know you want to say Tulian.
I know
Right,
Dave doesn't
exactly.
know about Thule, so. And in fact, as you come kind of over a hill and down, you can see an encampment. There are, you can tell just from looking, the Losoth are sort of semi-nomadic people. They have sort of yurt almost structures set up in a group of them around with a larger one in the center. And out come here. This is what their chieftain looks like. He, with 4 or 5 others who are not as gaudily dressed, come out towards you and hold up a hand. The chieftain says, "It is very rare that we see travelers in these parts. Where are you going, and why have you come to the Bay of Forochel?"
We have.
I nudge Rufus.
Oh, that's good. I like that idea too.
All right.
I was going to do the same thing. I was like, nah, I did that last time.
Everybody shoves them forward.
Well, hello, sir.
And I'll do a bit of a flourish with my arm as well, to kind of as if to introduce you. Like, ta-da!
Well, hello, sir. My name is Rufus Burrows, and these are my companions. And we've come looking for. Did we have a name we were looking for?
Person-wise?
Right. There was someone with this ring that we were looking for. We're not just going around asking for a ring here and there, are we?
We got a letter, haven't we? Didn't we have a...
Yes.
Right, we got a letter. And who's it addressed to?
The chieftain or something?
To whom it may concern.
Chief NPC. Do you know a chief NPC up here? We've been looking for him.
So the chieftain, are you going to give this chieftain the letter?
Can he read?
Do we know if do we know this is the gent we were looking for?
Well, you don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't identified himself yet, right?
Wait, more my point is who are we actually looking for?
Well,
I'm not too sure.
It's got to be the boss of the place. Take us to your leader.
Hello, sir. Can I take it that you are the headman of this place?
yes, I oversee our people in their times of need, and I instruct and guide them. So, yes, perhaps.
You're the smart one, then. Well, sir, we've been sent here by Lord Elrond. Do you know who I'm talking about?
And he says, Elrond.
He's a tall chap.
He's an elf.
Pointy ears.
An elf lord.
That's
When
right.
I was young, my mother told me stories of the elves, but it has been many years since we saw any of their kind in this land.
Right there.
Well, sir, then you can take it as a boon because we've got one with us right here. There's Orphin.
Orphin, do you want to show off, like pull down your cloak and show off your pointy ears or something?
I am not a cabaret act.
Take it off.
You'll have to forgive him. They're people. They're quite noble, quite helpful, but not.
I'll just nod at him.
Okay.
We also have someone. Cleona comes from the very base of the Misty Mountains. We've got Baranor, who you can also call Finder.
That's right.
He's descended from great men indeed. And we've got Valley, comes from under the mountain. We've got people from all over Middle-earth coming to see you.
And so the chieftain of the Losoth, he sort of strokes his chin for a moment, and he says, "We have food and shelter if you require it. But as for anything else that you need, perhaps we could hold council." And
That's very generous, sir. We bring gifts as well. Now tell me, have you heard of something called cider?
we have heard of many of the inventions of the hobbit folk.
Wonderful. Well, sir, I brought some a little bit of East Farthing pipeweed, and we brought up a cask of Pappy Burrows' best apple cider. 2 seasons back, mind you.
These are fine gifts, my small friend.
Rufus,
Wow.
I think this could wait. I'm feeling rather exposed in this open area. Let us go into the shelter of the habitation.
Oh, right.
He says, yes, of course. Please follow us. And his men are armed, but they're not gonna like get around you and escort you. They're just walking with him back into the encampment. You can see Losoth people.
Forgive me, sir. I didn't catch your name.
Most simply call me the Chieftain.
The Chieftain. All right, Chieftain. Thank you.
And he leads you back to the largest structure in the encampment, this kind of oversized yurt thing. It's a little bit more, it's a little bit tent-like. It's got a fire pit in the center, and there's a set of kind of rough-hewn stools around the fire pit, and then one more elaborately carved, but still it is clear that it is very rustic seat. And the chieftain goes and he walks over to this seat and sits down and gestures for you all to sit around the fire pit with him.
Bally, look at this. I've seen homes of stone. I've seen homes of wood. I've seen homes in an old. I ain't never seen an home made from hides.
Yes, it's interesting. I'm wondering if when I get a chance, I might ask them what they want in trade and what they've got to trade. Seems to me they've got some interesting craftsmanship. Their armor's not terribly fine. I might like to find out what they need.
Excellent.
It's so a side project, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We are going to do an audience now. So if you remember, there are 3 core mechanical components to the One Ring, and audiences are the third. They represent your interaction with the powerful and the great of Middle-earth in debate or in discussion or something like that. So you have something that you definitely want, which is the Ring of Bara here. So you have a determined objective. So that's why this is an audience versus with Elrond, it wasn't an audience because you didn't have an objective, essentially.
Interesting.
What you will do is everyone who wants to participate in the audience. So first off, everyone is going to roll insight at TN 14 to get extra success die. Okay. So let's do that first to see what you can glean.
At 15?
At 14.
14.
Oh, Valley.
I am not rolling well, am I?
What?
I am the least
What? Oh, shit.
Oh.
All right, insight.
Well, we got 2 Gandalfs to his 1 Sauron, so...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm contributing
Rufus.
Sauron as well.
No!
Oh, well, this is lovely, but when are we going to get to your actual house? You don't live in this, do you?
Well, you haven't said anything. This is just you looking around and trying to glean whatever information you can that might be useful when talking to.
Oh, right.
But that's the look on his face.
What is the mechanic? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be putting a hand on Rufus's shoulder, shaking my head.
Nice.
Everybody who has succeeded, you get 1 extra success die for the audience. If you succeeded, you get 2 if you got a great success, and 3 for an extraordinary success. Cleona, you got a great success. Yes, so you get 2. Everybody who failed, you don't get anything. Right. Remember that you can give extra success die to other characters. They have to announce that they're using it before they actually roll. We also, so normally there would be a stage of introductions. Rufus, since you have been talking to the chieftain, I'm going to let you count as already having been introduced to the chieftain. Everybody else who would like to participate, any type of participation, you will have to roll for your introduction. Okay. There is a failure condition for this audience. Who has the highest? I think most people have 3 valor and 3 wisdom. Is that correct?
That's right.
I have 3 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Losoth are not as civilized as some of the other peoples of Middle-earth, so they respect valor a little more than they respect wisdom. So your encounter tolerance is 4, which is 3 for the highest valor plus 1. That's the number of failed rolls you can make before it is not possible to get a better level of success towards your objective.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
The introduction rolls don't count towards that. So everybody who wants to talk might as well try to introduce themselves. But after you have introduced yourself, you will have to talk to or do something to try to communicate with the Losoth Chieftain to build up total successes so that your objective will be a success rather than a failure.
Arlen, would you mind making the token for the Chieftain just a wee bit bigger?
Like that?
Brilliant. Yes, thank you.
So, Mr. Lawmaster, Arlen,
Yes.
how can I use my lore to improve our situation as a group? Can I like on the way to the audience? Could I maybe be surveying the scene and going through my learning and piecing bits of information together in my mind and maybe pointing a few things out, trying to give the group a little bit of understanding of the culture and stuff like that, so that we're not going in totally like insulting their habitation and stuff like that.
I'd like to.
Orphin, why are
do
you looking at me when
similar,
you say that?
I'd like to do something similar with my beast lore and my hunting, because they tend to use tides and whatnot. So I'd like to kind of see how their village is doing and, like complement their hunting prowess.
Here's what we'll do. Cleona, you will be able to use hunting as a role during your actual discussion in the audience. Orphin, I think yours would apply better by letting you re-roll your insight roll using lore. So you can roll lore at TN14 to gain success die to think about whatever it is that you might know about the Losoth that you could tell your companions.
Okay, do that now, yeah?
Yeah, do that now.
And I just have a in-universe question, which is, does... Man.
Oh, my. This bodes well.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you figure out what happens with that.
Oh no!
Nothing.
I seem to have made an error in my recollection of.
Right. I think Sauron lives here.
Yeah,
Rufus, stop being so rude. These people can't help it. They live in fucking squalor.
We're gonna have a worm tongue may turn the guy against the elves. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh my god! Right, exactly. Does Baranor know?
Couldn't leave it alone.
That's right. If these people are descended from the kingdom of Arnor historically, or if these people are more like wild men, or any idea? Just wondering how much to reveal when I introduce myself.
I believe they have orc blood.
So
I'm sure you do.
That will fit well with our tone.
This is a great place to remind ourselves of how traits work. So normally what I would do is have you make a lore roll, probably at TN 10 or 12, because it's relatively easy to know. But you have Arnor lore as a trait, don't you?
That's right.
So this is a great place where a trait would result in an automatic success that I think that the Losoth are not of the stock of Numenor. They are people who have lived in this part of the world for thousands of years. They were here before the settlement of Arnor and Gondor. But you know that there have been interactions between the kings of Arnor and of Arthedain with the Losoth. In particular, so if you remember back to last time when Elrond was telling you the story of the Ring of Barahir, the Ring of Barahir was given to the Losoth when Arvedui, the last king of Arthedain, gave it to them for safekeeping when he left the Bay of Forochel in a ship that was sunk on the icy seas of this part of Middle-earth. He and all of his companions perished there. That was about 1,000 years ago, but there's a chance these are a long remembering people, like most of the peoples of Middle-earth. So there's a chance that they have some sense of what the Kingdom of Arnor means, certainly.
Is that when one of the Palantir were lost? When the ship went down?
I think so. I don't remember for certain, but I suspect so.
Right.
I suspect that it's because I think there was a Palantir in Innuminas, and I think it was lost in the Bay of Forochel.
Right.
Cool. Okay, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to know.
Excellent.
All right.
So let's do introductions for whoever wants to introduce themselves. So there are a couple ways you can introduce yourself. Generally, what you use is courtesy, and courtesy is, talking nicely, doing your best to not behave like you have been behaving, basically. There's a couple of other ways, though. So awe and riddle are two examples given in the book. Awe being kind of showing off your presence as a mighty warrior, and riddle being if you want to try to be real clever with them. The stones of Amansul and Annuminus were lost in Arvidu's shipwreck. Excellent. So yes, there's a palantir at the bottom of the bay. You won't be able to get it, just so you know.
But I have lore of power, so when he said that, I was like, I hope there is one.
Yeah. I can hold my breath.
I
really
dive
know.
in.
How are
Excellent.
these people at pearl diving?
So you can use riddle to introduce yourself without revealing much information about yourself and basically being clever. So when Bilbo talks to Smaug and he calls himself, Barrel Rider, that is Bilbo using riddle to introduce himself. When Aragorn walks into the keep at Helm's Deep and pushes open the doors and there's the sunlight coming in behind him, that is awe. And the normal way of introduction is just, talking nice, and that's courtesy. If there's something else you think you might be able to use, I'm happy to hear it.
Okay. Well, yeah, Clarina will rely on awe in order to introduce herself. She's got that great forest axe. It's huge, but she can easily swing it with one hand. So she'll do a flourish of that as she approaches and introduce herself and make comment about the great skins they must have came across in order to build their village.
Right.
Excellent.
So
roll me some awe at TN 14.
Dang it. Can I use a point of hope?
You can use a point of hope. What's your body rating?
4.
So that gets you, or is an awe is not a favored skill, is it?
It is favored. So
It
it's
is
a 6 favored.
Oh, so favored body. Yes, you can use a point of hope. So let's refresh ourselves on the mechanics. If you remember, after you make a roll, if you did not meet the target number, you can spend a point of hope to add either your regular or your favored attribute rating that is attached to the specific skill to bring up the total to meet or exceed the target number. So Cleona could spend a point of hope in order to reach 16, which is, of course, higher than or equal to 14, and therefore successfully make an introduction using awe.
I'll do that.
Right.
Excellent. Remember that it's very important to track when your hope is equal to your shadow. So as you lose hope and you gain shadow, you get closer and closer to becoming miserable, which is when they're equal. If you're miserable and you roll an Eye of Sauron, you go into a bout of madness from which you never completely recover. You gain a trait that reflects the change to your personality that has happened, and generally you do awful things while you're in your bout of madness.
It'll clear out all your temp shadow, but you'll gain 1 permanent. So
Clears out all your temp shadow, but you gain 1 permanent shadow. Once you have like 4 permanent shadow, you're at kind of the end of a character's ability to even just function in the world. So
Have we all gained shadow over the last 5 years?
yeah,
everybody has gained some shadow and lost some hope. Cleona is the only one who has permanent shadow.
Oh.
I draw on the shadow when things get tough.
Because she draws on the shadow, so she gains more shadow. And then also, I think we decided that permanent shadow is the loss of her husband, the father of her child.
And the resentment for it.
And the way that she has never kind of completely come to terms with that.
Right.
So Cleona has made an introduction. Rufus is introduced automatically. Orphin and Vali and Baranor, would you like to introduce yourselves?
I would very much to. Sorry.
No, go.
Go ahead.
I'd very much like to use riddle because I'm naturally secretive, and I'd like to, as I said before, I'd like to just sort of talk on other pretexts. I'd like to talk about trade. I'd like to talk about what's interesting to them and to me, but not even mention the ring in my introduction.
Excellent. Yeah. So why don't you roll riddle? It'll be a little bit harder. TN 16 instead of 14.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, that would have been. Do you know? I'm going to spend a point on that as well.
Excellent.
How do I do that?
So there's two ways you can do it. You can go to your character sheet and just subtract one, or on your token, the blue bar is your hope.
Ooh.
So you can click on the token and the 3 dots pop up. You can click on the blue dot and just type in -1 and enter, and it'll calculate it automatically for you, which is pretty cool.
Blue one.
The blue one.
Is our blue our hope?
Blue is hope.
Right.
Red is endurance. Endurance is paired with fatigue in a similar way to the way that hope is paired with shadow. If your endurance ever reaches or is lower than your total fatigue, you become weary. Weariness means that every time you roll a 1, 2, or 3 on the success dice, the 6-sided dice that you roll for the level of your skill, those count as 0. So what it means is that if you become weary, the average doesn't change that much. It's an average of 3.5 versus an average of 2.5 on the success die, but it becomes a lot swingier, which is one of the kind of interesting mechanical things that's going on in this game.
Which I like.
Yeah.
So how do I add my wits into that now that I've spent the hope?
You just tell us.
Is Riddle favored or unfavored?
It's unfavored.
So it's
Unfavored, so you add your base wit.
Yeah.
Which is, what's your base
That's
wit?
4, so that gives me 4.
So
From 18.
so you're up to 18, so you succeed.
I succeed. Yeah, good.
Excellent. So you have talked to them just about trade and maybe making some kind of clever comments about the state of their situation, but they are prepared to talk to you. Orphin and Baranor, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'll tell you what skill I'm gonna use after I tell you what I'm gonna say, and you can decide if it makes sense.
Okay, that's
cool.
fine.
So I approach and say, I'm very humbled to be in the presence of the snowmen of Forochel. Your people have held a great part in the stories of my kindred. We know that you, like them, were united against the Witch King long in the past. And my great ancestor trusted you with the most important thing that he ever possessed. So therefore, I trust you with my life. And I'm very thankful to have met you and find that you are still alive and thriving here in the North. And so I was trying to use lore.
Tell you what, I'll let you do courtesy as an introduction and then a lore roll for your actual interaction.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yep. Here we go. 16, correct?
14 for courtesy.
14
it's easier to be courteous than it is to riddle.
Okay. I think it's worth spending a hope because I will have a great success.
Yes.
So I shall do so. So that will give me. It's not favored, but it'll put me over.
Yes. Excellent. So that's also, we should talk about Valley and Baranor both rolled 6s on their introductions. So what you need for a great success is just any number of 6-siders that show a 6. That's how you determine the total level of success beyond a general success. In particular, because you introduced yourself with great successes instead of regular successes, those count each as 1 success towards your total successful interaction rolls in the audience. So you're sitting at 2 successful interactions versus no failures.
Great.
You're going to have to build your way up to actually get to the point where they're willing to give the ring to you, assuming they even have it. But you're on the right track. So, Baranor, do you want to roll lore? And
oh, yes.
Lore at TN 14.
Okay, here we go.
And actually, you've got Arnor lore, so I'll lower it.
Oh, good. To 12, maybe?
I was going to lower it to 12.
Okay, excellent.
Roll a little quickly, but that's okay. So another great success. They, this chieftain sort of looks at you, Baranor, and he says, I I remember the stories of the kings of Arnor that our people tell. Mighty and doughty warriors they were, in shining armor and with great swords. And they were driven out of their homeland by foulness to the east. If we can help you succeed in whatever it is that you have come a-questing for, we shall do so.
We thank you for that.
Excellent. So that's 4 successes. Orphin, you're the only one who hasn't introduced yourself. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, so I think how this plays out, I've had a little chat with a group as we was approaching, then I peeled away from the group and I've been looking around, scuttling around, because there's something dogging me about my recollection of this place, and I'm actually starting to get a little bit strung out and confused. I think maybe at this point I'm a little bit far from the trees and my homeland, and I think the audience kind of starts, and I'm getting myself a bit worked up. You know, Elrond sent me here. We can't fail in this mission. We really need to make an impression. And they haven't seen any elves, and I'm sort of thinking, I don't know if I want any part of this. And then I kind of resign myself that I need to make an appearance, and I'll sort of like burst into the room, and there'll be like a draft of wind that comes in behind me, and I like sort of throw back my hood, and I'll have like this desperation in my eyes and this like intensity, and I'll just be like, I'll look him straight in the face like, you've got to help us. The future of our peoples depends on it.
Excellent.
Then
Yeah.
that face.
In that face, roll your awe.
Awesome.
Assuming that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
I'm trying
I
to do.
figured.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and I kind of like, you know, it was all a bit unexpected. You know, I've kind of appeared. There we go.
So that's a great example of what happens when you roll a Gandalf, because you automatically succeed even though you have not beat the target number because of rolling that 1 in 12 Gandalf rune on the feat die. So yes, Orphin, you march in and throw back your hood and speak to them, and they are mightily impressed by such a powerful warden of Mirkwood being in their presence.
At his wit's end.
Cool.
I'm at my wit's end here.
You can tell that they really think you're a fucking badass. And they're ready to talk to all of you. So time to do the actual audience roles. So what do you want to say to them?
Man, I'm done.
That's all you got.
I'm gonna donate one of my success dice to Rufus because he's a good speaker.
Rufus
All
is
right.
definitely the best speaker among us.
I'm not sure that's quite accurate, but
Take a swig, you'll be fine.
Somehow,
What am I
yeah.
rolling? So what am I doing now?
What do you want to do?
I want
Basically, you're telling
Well,
him
now
why
it
we
is-
came.
we do want to get. I mean, we want to see that they, for one, that they have the ring that we were sent for, and 2, that they're willing to part with it so we can bring it home.
So if I might make a suggestion,
Draw weapons.
not draw weapons, not this kind of game,
Oh, right.
but
That's
it might be worth starting with Riddle when you talk about this ring, because you can, all of you, imagine.
You've got this thing
What's in my pocket?
that I understand you don't think you've got.
What have you got in your pockets here?
You don't know what has happened with them, but you
Right.
also know that one of the purposes of the ring wraiths is to act as Sauron's emissaries to all of the undecided peoples of the world.
Right.
And it's entirely possible that, for instance, a Nazgul has come asking for this very ring, knowing that it is an artifact of immense antiquity, and that it might be worth being a little cagey about how you approach the situation before kind of going all out and saying, here's exactly what we need.
All right. Who else is in here with us? Is it just us and the chieftain, or has he got his henchmen? And
he's got some of his people, his wife, and he has a pair of children kind of sitting off to the side, and a couple of his counselors around him.
Oh, Cleona wants to head over and talk to the wife and kids, just kind of interact with them while they do their stuff.
Can I ask as well?
I'll give Valley one of my success die because I had 2.
Okay.
In the film version of this, are any of those characters, by any chance, played by Brad Dourif?
I don't know who that is.
Grima Wormtongue.
Oh. None of them are played by Wormtongue. No.
Oh, right. Well then. All right.
What is the general feel of the settlement as we've moved through it? Do people seem pretty relaxed and calm, or is there a bad vibe at all?
It's complicated. These people live a harsh life, and they are not as privileged as some of the other free peoples of Middle Earth. So they're kind of rough but in good spirits. The closest you can think of is sort of to the Beornings, because you've been in the Wilder Land, all of you. Well, Valley, you've probably been there on trading missions out of Erebor. And the Beornings have this kind of stoicness to them, that they're willing to approach the roughness of life with their head first, and these Lostoth are very similar. They're a little bit more grim. There's none of the, so when you went into Rivendell, there was like just elves singing around the place, kind of singing songs and cheery and having happy times. It's not like that here. But it's also not like they're in, it's not like, for instance, a city under siege or something like that.
Right. These are just hard people for an hard place.
Yes.
That's why Cleona's trying to build up a relationship with the wife and kids, because that's the back door into negotiation tables. And she knows it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think what I'll do is I'll say, Chieftain, thanks again for bringing us in here. And perhaps first what we'd like to do is present you with the gifts that we've trucked all the way up here for you. And I'll present my cask of Pappy Burrows apple light harvest cider, and I'll pass along. Do you, by any chance, partake in the pipe weed?
We at times have been known to share out pipe weed.
Well, then I've brought something for you to share for those special times. Then it's a real special East Farthen harvest. We are. Now, as we said, we had someone brought.
Varley looks on wistfully at that weed. He does partake of that.
Now, we've great chieftain. We've been sent here by that great lord of whom we spoke before, and we understood. He understood and instructed us that there was a great deal of trust between your peoples quite some time ago, and that there was a tangible sign of that connection. Do you by any chance follow which I'm speaking of, or what the great lord has spoke of? Rufus is going to play dumb, which is not much of an act for him. But now, do I have any extra dice?
You have an extra success die from Cleona. So
how do I add that?
You just tell me you're adding it, and then you roll it after you roll your regular roll.
All right, I'm adding it.
All right.
Let's see.
Nice.
Well, look at that then.
Excellent.
Could get a great success.
Could get a great success with that extra die. So why don't you roll 1d6?
How's that then?
No great success, but that's all right because you
Whose idea was that?
Yours.
Oh, right.
You successfully talk to the chieftain, and he sort of stares off. He like I said, these people are a little grim, and he kind of stares down into the fire pit for a little bit before actually responding to you. And he says, "A tangible sign of the link between our peoples, between the people of
Our
Arnor
lords,
or-
our lords, people. What do you think?
or Elrond, your elf lord."
Kev doesn't quite remember. Was it the Arnor?
Well, let me suggest that perhaps somebody like Baranor or Orphin make a lore roll to explain the situation at this point.
Those names seem so familiar too. They all sound the same. Baranor, can you help here?
I can, Master Hobbit. What young Rufus means to say is that is it a TN14?
TN14.
Is that oh Jesus?
Oh, blah, 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 blah.
Oh shit! And I could have used some. I have like 4 dice.
It's that you people stole something.
Yeah. Where's my stuff?
Is there a table here? I'm going to kick it over.
So I say a bunch of something that sounds like gibberish, and then I turn to Orphin because I'm like, I guess they don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that mechanically, what we're doing is we're looking at, we've got a couple of successes built up, but that's our first failure for the audience. So you have impinged upon their tolerance rating to some degree. Their tolerance rating is pretty good because remember, you have 4 failures that you can make before they basically kick you out and tell you they don't want to talk to you anymore.
Right.
But they didn't like that, Baranor.
Can I make a suggestion? It's that Baranor can't help but demonstrate what a grand man he is. And they just took it to be that he was talking down to them when that was never his intention.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Like that, like I was treating like my people or saw them as servants to do something for them or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
Baranor, might I make a suggestion?
What's that?
Maybe try less Baranor, more Finder.
I understand. Orphin, perhaps you will have more luck while I recenter myself. Unless you do not wish to speak.
He's got that elf face on again.
Very good.
I am hanging on.
Okay.
Hanging on.
All right. Excuse my elf friend here. What I meant to say that came off, I think, not in the way I intended, was that we owe your people a debt of gratitude. And we are hopeful that you may still retain the item of which one of my ancestors, the last king in the north, bestowed upon your people for safekeeping before his ship was wrecked in the bay, if you recall this story from very long ago.
I'll tell you, Chieftain, I mean, I've never even heard of that, and that speaks very well of your people's trustworthiness and the degree to which
why
you
don't
keep
you
for
roll?
yourself.
Let's see. So I think courtesy would work, or I think something like inspire or persuade might work as well.
Let's see. I think courtesy is just as good as anything else. So I will.
So and it's going to be lower. It's going to be only TN10 this time.
Okay, but I will use one of my success dice.
Yes, excellent.
So here we go. 12.
Yes.
So, but I'm going to get at least a 6.
You're going to get at least one. So
let's see what I get.
Yeah. So, and if you get a six,
Okay.
you get, okay. So no great success, but you speak again, and the chieftain, he kind of once again, he sort of looks down into the flames, and then he, after a few moments of kind of thinking, he says, "We do have an heirloom that has been among us for a great many generations." And he sort of leans back and looks at his wife, and they make eye contact, and she then reaches and pulls out from under her dress, and around her neck she has a chain made of silver. And this is very surprising to all of you because, of course, there's not a lot of metal stuff here. And around it is a ring, and this ring looks, we already saw it, but let me show it to you again. Two snakes with emerald eyes crowned, and all of you can see in enough detail to tell this is the Ring of Barahir. It was made in the First Age, so it is thousands of years old. Wow. It was old when Arvidui gave it to the Losoth, and he gave it to them 1,000 years ago.
Great Chieftain, I do have something. It does appear that we are both on the same page, as it were. And I've got something for you from our great lord. And I'll bring out the missive from our friend Elrond. This was for you, sir. And I'll present it with two hands.
Yeah, so he takes it from you and he opens it up and he reads it, and he again is kind of sitting quietly and thinking and reading and goes.
Why did Elrond say kill the bearer of this message?
P.S.
He says, do you know what this ring is for?
I'm kind of standing there looking at it in awe because there's so much meaning to what this object is. I can't even believe I'm in the same space as it. So I kind of come out of it and say, I have some idea, but I never thought it would happen in my lifetime.
You'll have to forgive me, great chieftain. The purpose of such grand things are well over my head, but as you can appreciate, much is found to be over my head.
And in fact, here's what I think we're going to do, because it would be incredibly Tolkien. Finder, why don't you roll song to have some spontaneous poetry come into your mind, a bit of lore about the Ring of Barahir, and that'll be ATN 12.
Okay, cool.
Could I accompany him with some musical accompaniment on my harp?
Yeah, that sounds good. Why don't both of you roll?
And is this 12. A case where it would make sense for me to use one of my success dice, or that's not part of the audience? So I've got 3 left. I'm happy.
You are welcome to use your success die here. I don't have any problem with you doing that. I think it totally fits for you to use success die to try to think about to remember that to me feels very in keeping with the setting for you to dig down and come up with a bit of poetry or a bit of lore about this thing and kind of quietly sing it.
That sounds good to me.
Varley would join in, but the song and the style are not to his taste.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh dear!
Finder, why are you singing in black speech?
Yeah, suddenly. Oh my god! I didn't realize I was possessed. Nice style, Ron.
You're singing in a melodic kind of tone. They're like one
totally
ring to find them.
I start to sing the chorus melody line.
Good God!
So they are all. Whatever it is that you sing, I think you probably sing it in a language that they don't actually speak, so they cannot tell. But it is not so much hauntingly beautiful as just haunting. There is something really unsettling about.
This is why nobody lets me talk to anybody.
Baranor, you're doing it again.
Huh? What?
Great chieftain, forgive us. Obviously, we with a treasure of such beauty and pedigree, it's clearly striking many of my friends who are much better learned than I with a great deal of awe. Chieftain, you seem quite concerned. Is there something beyond our visit that is weighing on your mind?
Yeah.
This ring is very precious to our people. And he says it like that. It's a different tone when he says precious.
The firelight dances in his eyes.
Yeah, and you can see, it's like Gandalf in Baggins standing up and the room grows dark. There's a sense of that. I'm
rocking some shadow lore, Arlen.
Yeah.
Am I getting a bad vibe? Have I seen this behavior in my travels?
You, I think so. I think you have seen that this is something that can happen when the shadow might be working its way into someone's heart, and that this is sort of the inherent threat of power in this universe, that it just corrupts people, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this chieftain is quite wise. Mechanically, he is good at resisting shadow, but no amount of being good at resisting could keep him from having some bit of tendrils in his heart.
Barley whispers.
Now, would Rufus recognize that as well, or would he just be thinking, "Oh, of course, sir, this is quite precious to many. It's clearly a great treasure."
I think Rufus is a little unsettled. He can tell that there's something going on. He doesn't know what it is,
right?
But he knows that this is, and he knows, especially, he hasn't known this chieftain for very long, but this seems out of character for him. He hasn't behaved like this at all.
How is his family reacting? His wife in particular.
His wife kind of clutches around it tighter, and she looks where his eyes grow kind of lustful and malignant. She looks terrified.
Terrified of him, or of the ring, or the loss thereof?
You couldn't say.
I think
recognize a look of terror. Seeing that on my face more.
At this point, Orphin is slowly sort of striding up closer and kind of round to the side a little bit, and he's kind of he's put his hood back up after the reveal, and as he sees this, he's like, from beneath his hood, he's staring intently at this chieftain, but he's stepping round to the side, so he's not quite in the focus of the discussion. But everybody can see the tension that's there, and he's clearly gearing up for something.
And I think that I probably have a sense of why he's doing that, because I also have shadow lore, plus my shadow weakness is lore of power, so I might have a sense of why Orphin might be doing what he's doing.
Cleo feels the struggle fairly well too. She's actually going to do something now. She's going to sigh and stand up and move closer to the chieftain and say, "Great chieftain, from one who knows the draw of the power of the shadow, let us take this poison from your heart and give it back to the elves who can handle it better." So that's why it terrifies her.
I think that's going to be persuade.
Well, I like that one rank in that.
I think that's going to be a difficult persuade.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to make you make a corruption test for openly talking about the shadow.
Nice.
What target number?
Give me a target number 16 persuade check.
Come on, Gandalf, we need you.
Holy
no.
Jesus.
Oh,
Sauron heard that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Wisdom check for
So,
corruption.
well,
Is there an ill wind that blows through this?
I'm not
tent?
even going to... you rolled a Sauron, so I'm not even going to let you roll a wisdom check to save against shadow. You're just going to take a point of shadow for saying it out loud and kind of allowing it in. And you can feel the cold seep in around, and you might even hear something kind of eerie. And all of you look down towards your feet, and coming up out of the dirt are like a worm and a centipede and just this weird kind of insect life coming up out of the ground, and it is deeply unsettling to all of you. Nobody else is going to take shadow, but
Cleona almost freaks out. She starts stamping on him just immediately.
It's pretty. You guys are in a bad place.
I immediately step forward, but not aggressively. But just step up, I should say, and say, "Great Chieftain, we come in a time of dire need. If your people feared the darkness of the Witch King, there are more of them. I have seen one." And I don't know if I really saw one. Just add a game. I have seen one. We are on a great task, for all of our lands are under threat from the Dark Lord, and that item that you have held for so long for us, for which we owe you a great, great debt, is one of the few items that gives us hope that we may survive what is to come. I beg of you to please consider returning this ring to the people who gave it to you for safekeeping in the first place.
Great Chieftain.
So what do you, we'll do Rufus next. Baranor, what do you want to roll for that?
I want to do hunting. No. I want to.
Because so here's what I think. I think that is two parts. I think that's one part lore and one part inspire.
That sounds right to me.
I think you can roll both at TN14.
Okay, and do I need? Okay, gotcha. Okay, you know what I'm going to do, and I'm going to spend one. Yeah, I've got 2 success dice left. I'll use one on each.
Okay.
So here's lore. TN14.
TN14.
God damn it! And I can't even succeed unless I get a 6. So let's see what happens here.
Laura favored, because then you can spend a point of hope as well.
So 8. What is your?
So that's an 8, and then so it's not favored. So I only could get a 5, which would give me a 13. I'd still fail. Yeah. Even spending a point of hope. So that's a failure. So let me try. Should I try the inspired too, or am I?
You're gonna have to.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So again, I have 1 success die going along here.
Shadow was strong today.
Jesus Christ.
It's 5.
So that gives me a 12. Now in this case, though, I will spend a point of hope for an additional 5, which will give me a 17.
Excellent.
All right.
So what do we in the film version? What do we see as you falter and then dig down deep, and something that you say strikes a chord with them?
So when I ask him to give it to me, I see him him and his wife recoil at the idea of parting with this powerful item, but because I understand what that's like, because it's part of who I am, I immediately physically step back and take a knee. So I'm asking it as like a gift and placing my hand out as if it's completely within their control. I'm not here to take it from them.
Yeah.
And I think Orphin steps up and just puts a supporting hand on the wife's shoulder, like where she was terrified. I look at her into her eye and look across at Baranor as if to say, this is all right.
Yeah, and I think Baranor, that your gesture is particularly effective because you were kind of a little haughty to them at first, and they felt like you were talking down to them as if the people of Numenor were better than them, and you have not debased yourself, but you have shown your humility in front of them, and that really speaks to him. And you can see as the chieftain, his eyes, which were bulging a moment ago, kind of go back to normal, and he sort of pauses for a moment. And then Rufus, you wanted to do something?
Oh, I did. Well, it seemed like things were getting out of hand here, so I wanted to step forward and say, great chieftain, tell me, do you know much about this Shire? About my home?
We know very little about your folk, Master.
Well, that's not terribly unusual, Chieftain. As many who don't know much about the Shire, but let me tell you a little bit about it. The Shire, my home, is very much like what yours is. It's quite pristine, untouched, and quite beautiful. My people, much like yours, we live very, very close to the earth. We enjoy the things of nature. We enjoy seeing things grow, and we enjoy being outside. And we enjoy our people. And what I've learned is stepping outside that home and going over to the mountains and meeting my friends and traveling with elves and grand men like Baranor, meeting brave women like Cleona, and new friends like little Valley here. These people, what I can tell you, Grand Sir, is that these people who don't have the same benefits of our lands, they have great shadows that fall on their lands. What we know is that with greatness burns like a great big fire. And while it's warming and it's powerful being close, all such power always casts deep shadows as well. In our lands, the shadows only come, we're fortunate, we're blessed very much like you people. Shadows only fall when things of such great blazing power come. Sir, it seems that such thing may have come to your people, not from your creation, something outside your control, but something that came to you due to your great-heartedness and your bigness of compassion for people you did not know and owed no allegiance to. What I think my friends are asking, sir, is that burden that your people held for so long, that blazing power that could cast something over these grand and beautiful lands of yours, that you pass it back, that they might shoulder that burden again for you, and take that little weight finally off your people's shoulders. And I know, sir, that these people, from my travels, I'd want them to do the same for my people as well.
That was excellent.
Yes.
What do you want to roll? And you're going to get a significant bonus to it.
I'm going to want to roll persuasion, because I can see that he's got something in his guts there.
This is why we let the halfling talk.
All right,
Exactly.
roll me persuade at 10.
At 10.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was
Let's
awesome.
try
Yeah,
and not
that's
cock
right.
it up. Hot now.
Nice.
Now, if I spend a point of hope, that'll get me a grand success, yes?
No,
Why not?
you didn't roll any sixes.
Oh, right. That's what I got to do.
Yeah, but you did succeed. And he, once again, the chieftain, you can see that he's almost shrinking down. He's almost at the point of cowering in his own home, and he looks at his wife and he looks back to you, and then suddenly it's a blur of motion. She shrugs off Orphin and yanks the chain off of her neck and holds out the ring. Who is going to take it?
I guess I'm kneeling. Am I close enough to receive it from her, or do I have to get up?
Orphan's right next
Basically, what I'm going to say is if nobody else reaches for it, she's going to give it to you, Baranor, because you're kneeling down with your hand out.
So it's up to Orphin. It's up to you, because you're right there.
If Orphin doesn't act, Cleona will do something.
That's mine.
What's Rufus? What's Rufus doing? What's Rufus doing?
Well, Rufus, if no one else is acting, I'll just walk forward and I'll tap the chieftain on the shoulder and say, "You're a grand man, sir. You've proven that. You're a grand man too." And I'll take that and put it back where I had that message stolen.
Take the ring?
Aye.
All right. Give me a valor test at TN14.
I will.
And Cleona's hand.
I have true-hearted as one of my distinctive features. Does that help at all?
That's why it's TN14 and not TN18.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. No!
So you reach out to take the ring and grasp it, and it's as if as you reach around it, it just slips through your fingers and the chain and the ring fall to the floor and roll along, and everyone is sort of awestruck in this moment. It seems portentous somehow. Who would like to pick up the ring?
I immediately go. No reaction time. Just immediately. I hate the fact that it touches the floor. To me is like,
die, halfling.
Yeah.
Do you think you have a trait that applies? Because I think fierce might actually.
Yeah, that's the one that I think makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think fierce would apply. So roll me Valor TN 14 also.
Okay. Yes.
Excellent.
I'm so glad you did that because Cleona was next to
Down.
Yeah.
Pick it up and hold it. And what do you do with it, Baranor?
I kind of
feel it's a small silver ring and has some jewels in it. It's not very big, and the actual like mass in grams is not particularly great, but you can feel the weight of history in your hand as you hold it. There's a real it's almost a struggle to even lift this thing because it has so much history to it. And you can tell almost that if you didn't know better, you'd think that the ring is resisting your grasp until you kind of tighten your grip on it and are able to somehow it's as if it senses who you are and stops resisting and suddenly becomes lighter.
Okay. Did she break the clasp when she took it off, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she just snapped it.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I immediately put it. I have an inside pocket or something to get it, close to my chest. For now, I want to eventually rework that clasp, but a chain. But I put it in there, so it's sort of out of their sight, so they're not seeing. I don't want them to be, feel like it's luring them anymore.
If there is that like pregnant pause after that, I think what Rufus will say, he's a little startled by what happened with the ring, but he'll look to the chieftain and try to direct the conversation elsewhere by saying, Chieftain, did you know that Vali was interested in hearing about what all the different wonders that your peoples make? He's talking about bringing stuff all the way from the Misty Mountains up to here. Did you know that? That's right, Vali? That's what you were saying on the way up here.
That was what I was after. I fine craftsmanship. I noticed they haven't got much in the way of armor or fine weapons or even alcohol.
Well, they make fine. What he means to say, Grand Chieftain, is we know that you don't have access to the riches that you have in bounties. The dwarves and those peoples have other kinds, all sorts of things that they could bring to you, where they find themselves paupers in ways of fish and game and bone and scrimshander. These peoples can work stone and iron like your peoples can work these. Show them your sword there, Valley.
I will. I'll show my axe. Yes, and
is that an axe? I couldn't see.
This could be the start of a very fruitful relationship. This is
not an axe.
So, mechanically, on the fellowship phase, dwarves can roll craft to reduce their shadow. So I think that is essentially what is happening here. You're not reducing your shadow, but you are reducing the shadow intake for everyone else through your craft skill, Volley.
Awesome.
So I can roll it?
Yeah, roll craft at TN 14.
Yeah,
yes, I would like less shadow, please.
Nice.
Nice.
No, you guys don't get less shadow. The Lossoth chieftain and his wife get less shadow. And you can see the Lossoth chieftain, he sort of glances covetously at your pocket, Baranor, but then he turns away and he's speaking with Valley about it, and he every once in a while sort of looks over again and almost checking that you're still there. The wife, she has begun to tear up. And she sort of sinks down. The children don't understand what's going on, but they come around their mother and hug her tightly, and she grasps them and is crying and kissing them, and it's as if she is relieved, where he is still touched by the desire for this ring.
Are Orphin and Baranor standing near each other?
Yeah, I'm about to whisper in Baranor's ear.
You'll have time before I get there.
Okay. Baranor, whilst this is all lovely and everything else, I feel we need to move quickly.
If I agree, part of that,
we cannot tarry here and discuss the ins and outs of dwarven craftsmanship. We need to complete this mission.
Yes, take this moment to leave before it's too late.
I feel like this has been a fairly heavy burden for them for a very long time. The longer it goes, the better chance they'll have to recover from that.
Yep. The sooner we're gone, the sooner they can forget all about it.
Yes, and we must take this ring to those who need it most. My hope is 4 and my shadow is 2.
Orphin, will they get better? Will he recover? Looking back at the chieftain.
Unfortunately, they don't have the long lives of elves. Maybe fragile humans. I don't know. They're not like the halflings. One hopes, but maybe given time. I'm not an expert.
The quicker we get this ring away from them, the better it is for them and us.
That is my feeling.
Can I ask one thing, Arlen?
Mm-hmm.
Is this a place of importance for these people? Part of their normal travels?
Yeah, this is basically where they spend most of the summertime. They kind of move south during the winter.
What I want to do, because I've got herb lore and I've got my background with me pappy. I want to have brought with me a particularly hardy breed, something with shallow roots and something that weathers the winters better than even a pine white. And what I want to leave behind is I'm going to plant a small crabapple tree here. And in generations hence, when they come back to this place, they'll always remember that one of my people was up here. And they'll maybe coincide with them travels. When they get in here, they'll know they'll have a tree full of tasty tart apples for them waiting.
That's very generous, Rufus.
Oh, it's but a seed, so it's not much.
All right. We're at about halfway, so do we want to take a break?
Would that be good? That?
Excellent. Yeah. Let's do a break, because I could use a break.
Yeah.
The old man blatter.
That's exactly. I couldn't
wait. Okay, back in 5 then.
Is sound working, Dave?
Yeah, it's all going well.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you think so far?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, just getting used to. It's my first experience of online gaming, so I'm just getting used to.
Oh yeah, the whole face on YouTube thing.
Yeah, but also the flow of dialogue is different. Do you know what I mean? Actually cutting in is more difficult than when you do it face to face. So I've got to think about that. But it's going well. It's going well. Thank you.
Yeah, Clara doesn't do too well in a talking situation. She's more of a head splitter.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's it. I'm hoping we'll get ambushed on the way back.
Hopefully. Yeah. I mean, she's got like 1 persuade, 2 insight. She's pretty good at healing. I mean, if you get a broken bone or something. But
similarly, I can do a bit of that. Actually, I didn't buy up my weapon skills, but I have. Yeah, I'm naturally heavily armored. I'm good for a bit of a scrap.
Oh yeah, she didn't put any actual points into weapon skills. It's just what came with her, and then whatever Arlen did to level her up. But she likes the 2-weapon fight.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
She's got a great forest axe, which is one-handed, but it's 2-handed size, and she goes with a dagger or spear if there's long range.
Cool.
So she she's definitely going to go mad shortly. She's already got 1 permanent shadow and 4 temporary for 5 right now, and only 8 hope.
Right.
So she's got an heir named though, so it'll be cool. It's the curse of the Dunderlings, I suppose. They can draw in the shadow.
Right. Yes.
So.
Yeah. That's my advantage from having been retconned was that I didn't have the hope attrition from the previous sessions. I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. I only ended up using like 4.
Right.
Or yeah, not too many the first session, but that when we fought the army, did you watch that session at all? Just to get an idea.
No, I didn't. I stayed fresh. Yeah.
Gotcha. It was pretty fun just being up front in the whole battle, just the whole army, and you don't have much armor because you're fighting everybody. And she just pulled in the shadow point in order to ignore damage from like the boss monster. Yeah, she can ignore a blow if it takes her to weary or below it.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
you know,
Let's see.
it's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
How you doing over there, Kevin?
Good.
Better?
Yes, soldiering on. Yeah, I got my second wind, I think.
Nice. Man, Sauron is watching us hard.
Yeah, I can't believe how many we rolled today. Good
I feel
Lord.
like I almost got his eye directly on us there.
Yeah.
Are you really down to 2 hope, Baranor? Is that what I heard?
Oh, George, it might be muted.
Yeah, what did you, sorry?
Are you down to 2 hope? Is that what
I
you
know
said?
I have 4 hope, but I
Oh.
have 2 shadow, so I only have a difference of 2.
No.
Oof.
I'm sitting at 8
Yeah.
hope, but I have 5 shadow right now. 4 temp, 1 permanent.
Interesting.
I got
This is-
6
this-
shadow, man.
You do.
Good Lord.
What's your hope down to?
Yeah, I should check
Hey.
mine. You got 6 shadow.
Oh, Orphin
Yeah,
might go
that's-
crazy before I do.
I got 4. What am I
That's-
talking about? Jeez.
That's why I'm trying to get that bit of a more edgy vibe going.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bitchy elf is very Tolkien, so.
Yeah.
Can we see each other's sheets on here?
No, it's
I
Can you get your own? Yeah.
I don't think you can.
I get to peek at Rufus's sometimes because it's on Google Hangouts because he's streaming.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
I think my young son was watching the game.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
He might have popped up in the chat there. Probably would have appeared as me.
He did. He said, hello.
No, that's Sonny, yeah.
Nice. Well, Tom, I'm sorry. I saw it and I thought it was just you saying hello to everyone else. Sorry. Say hi to your son for me.
I will.
All right. Everybody's back. That was great, guys. Really top tier.
That's fun.
Even invoking the shadow was an interesting point.
Yeah.
That was great.
So what's gonna happen?
I'm gonna be able to hear you guys because I have my headphones on, but I have to just let this dog out before I just see this. Looks like she's about to be on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be. You can keep going. I can hear.
Okay.
So everybody, if you feel like a success, you can roll your valor. If you feel troubled and maybe like a little bit of a failure, you can roll your wisdom. You're going to roll at TN 14.
Mhm.
And if you succeed at the roll, you're going to get a point of hope back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I don't feel very much of a success because of the whole shadow invocation. So, ooh, I rolled wisdom.
Wisdom.
So
Nice.
is it TN 14?
TN 14.
Alrighty, she's more hopeful now. Yay! Oh, not the Sauron eye.
That's my hubris. I was
Not
feeling.
another Sauron eye.
Oh, my God. Good Lord. What's the TN again? I'm trying to decide if I'm
14.
14.
Yeah, I think I'm going wisdom as well, too. 14. Okay, here we go. Come on. Fuck. Cheapers.
Okay, so Cleona gets a point of hope back.
Yay!
And George gets back.
I know, it's like, I did awesome. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Here's one of my successes. Use it.
George, I'm guessing you're going to roll wisdom.
I'm gonna roll wisdom. Well, no, my valor is 3.
No, but it depends on how you feel about the exchange.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Yeah,
You
I
feel
feel
like
wisdom.
a success
I just
or
want this dog thanks you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, doggy.
Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry, I didn't see the dog.
Oh, you say, here we go.
Come here.
Oh,
Oh,
look at that face.
yes. She's very sweet.
Nice. It was fun.
Okay.
Emmy is waiting.
Oh, that's a that's a great shot.
Nice.
All right, 17.
All right.
So I
Excellent.
gained back 1 point of
Dangerously
hope.
close to her Sauron right there.
So Rufus and Baranor and Cleona are all feeling a little distraught. They're a little concerned. They are, some of them, able to kind of dig down and feel like they have made progress in the eternal struggle against the shadow, but it has been hard won. Valley and Orphin, both of you feel elated, but in a kind of negative way. You're feeling like Boromir in the Fellowship, that you now have a weapon to fight the enemy with.
Yeah.
You are mechanically, there's nothing that's going to make you more vulnerable to the shadow, but that's kind of what's going on, is that you are on the path of falling to your shadow weakness.
Watching centipedes was really therapeutic.
Yeah, and especially because you rolled eyes, so that works in really well with the idea that it is Sauron's influence on you that is, or the influence of the enemy, or the shadow, or however you want to think about it. Something is not letting you recover your hope the way that you would like to.
The lure of power.
Can I make a suggestion for Rufus?
Yes.
I think that the talking so much about the shadow, how similar the Lossoth home is to my own. I think I'm dwelling on the fact that if this happened here in a place as pristine and remote as that, this could happen to the Shire as well, just as easily.
It could.
Yeah.
It
The
could.
halflings are so happy.
These people, I don't look at the beauty of their carvings and everything else. I think that these people were happy at that time too.
Yep.
But
True.
It could, Rufus. It certainly could, which is why we need to strike now.
All right, Orphin.
And with strength, crush the evil. Drive it from this land.
I think we need to get Orphin out of here.
Yeah.
Is it normal for Orphin to sit by a fire and laugh to himself like that?
It's not usual.
So
The
you're
dwarf.
not going to gain any. You're not going to have any chance to reduce your travel fatigue staying with the Lossoth.
Oh, that's not good.
You can stay a night basically with them, but you don't get to. It's restless sleep, shall we say?
I think that things are weighing
Well,
heavy
yeah,
on Orphin as well. Orphin, I'll help you. I'll help you keep watch.
Yeah, there's centipedes and worms everywhere. How are you going to sleep? It's gross.
And
They
as
have mostly gone back down into the dirt.
But they're down there. We
But
know.
I just feel like we have a giant target on our back now. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Rufus.
I'm going to keep an eye on the elf because I'm worried about him.
So, do we think it's too late to set out, Arlen? Is that
Yeah, it's too late today to set
Okay.
out. But nothing is going to happen to you during the night because I'm not that kind of DM.
I appreciate that.
You mean a coward?
We are in a town.
You are sort of in a town, but you're going to start traveling again in the morning. So we're going to make some
Okay.
more travel rolls to go back through the lone lands, these empty, unpopulated lands that have been left behind by the devastation of Arnor, back past Fornost Arraign, down here. I'll move Valley to mark your progress.
Cool.
From Bree up to the Lossoth encampment, to Bree, along the road past Weathertop, over the last bridge, and hopefully all the way back to Rivendell.
Unless Orphin wants to take the ring and go straight to Mordor.
Unless Orphin wants
I'll be watching him.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
That is true most of the time.
Excellent. So let's make some travel rolls, unless there's anything else you'd like to do with the Lossoth.
I don't think so. Unless, Valley, did you have anything you wanted to do? We haven't given you a chance to talk at all here.
Yeah, you've been pretty quiet, Valley.
No, I'm happy after my craft roll with the Lossoth. Let's get on our way, and I'll be looking out for hostile. My hand is on my axe always. I'm thinking I'm not feeling we're super safe on the way back.
Well, Kelowna would like to get up at the break of dawn and get a few souvenirs to bring back to her daughter on the way back.
Yeah,
and maybe something for Elrond.
You can get some souvenirs. Valley, you've made some trading contacts, so in the future.
Yeah, if they've got samples of their craftsmanship or anything that I can take back with me, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand at the edge of the bay and sort of gaze out over it and have this sudden super quick pop flash snap zoom under the water to where a Palantir is in the seabed kind of pulsing, and then and then I decided I gotta leave this place.
Yeah.
That was just for fun.
That's great. That's great. So we are back on the travel table. Everybody can stay in their roles, although if you want to change roles, now's the time to do so.
Nope.
Yes.
Okay.
We got Explorer is what I'm rolling.
Yes, explore, and that only comes up if you roll a hazard. If there's a hazard rolled, then you use that particular skill. Normally, you just roll travel.
We need to roll something to prepare first, don't we?
You do. You're going to roll 4. And in fact, because you made it this way, and so you know something about the path, it's going to be lore at TN 12 to get some extra success die for the travel. So everybody roll lore TN 12.
Do I get? Does lore of Arnor factor into this at all? I don't know if this technically was part of Arnor, really.
But most of what you travel through will be Arnor. So I'll let you. We'll assume that you
get 1 success.
Oh, what are the odds?
And then you roll your lore skill to see if you get a
I can tell you what, we may not be good at finding stuff in the field, but I can tell you we can find our way home again.
Yeah. I
If I
recognize
have no
the
dice, do I not roll?
Say again?
If I have no dice, do I not roll?
No, you every time you roll, you roll a 12-sided die.
Yeah.
6-siders. So if you roll a Gandalf like
I
did, then you succeed.
I was just wondering whether it was an optional because I've got just as much chance rolling a Sauron as a Gandalf. So do I?
If you prefer
have to
not to roll, you're welcome to not roll.
Yeah, I'll give that on this.
Okay. So Bernor, you're going to succeed automatically, so you get 1 success die.
Yeah.
Or you succeeded. Cleona, you succeeded. Rufus, you succeeded with a great success, so you get 2 extra success die for the trip.
Nice.
And we're going to start rolling some travel.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yay.
Okay.
I love
TN.
travel, and now I've got 1 roll to spare, right? Because I made a success.
You get a great success. You have two extra success die.
Oh.
Okay, so first travel is TN 12, 14?
TN 16.
Ooh.
16. I believe I'll be using one of them dice now.
Mm.
I decide afterwards, though, yeah?
For the success dice, no, you do that
Before.
For spending hope, you decide after.
All right. I'll use 1 on this roll. It's 16.
Cleona's quite eager. Wow, look at that.
Christ!
Looks like Cleona and Rufus are hand in hand, let's
see,
get out of here.
We've got this ring. Our luck has turned. We can do anything.
21!
Nice.
And a great success.
You got a 24, Rufus.
No, 29! Right. Call me. Come over here, boys. I know the way.
Yeah. I'm going to follow Rufus.
What happens when I roll well like that?
I
It's
failed.
nothing, isn't it?
I can imagine Rufus is on Cleona's shoulders saying, I can see everything from up here.
But
We should have been doing this the whole way.
yeah, everybody who succeeded, you're traveling light, you're feeling good. Everybody who failed, you can feel the weight. And I think it's only Baranor.
Yeah, I just took 2 points of
2 points of
fatigue.
travel fatigue, and you can feel it's not just the weight of your gear; it's the weight of this artifact.
Yeah,
it's
Right.
heavy.
totally.
Cleona agrees with Valley at the moment. Let's find some orcs.
Oh.
No.
That's the last thing we need. You
So-
too.
What you wish for.
2 more travel rolls at TN 16, and that'll get you all the way to Bree.
All the way to
let's-
Bree, eh?
So there's only three.
16. Core me.
16? Wow.
16.
Jeez.
I'll try no extra dice this time.
Oh,
I'm
oh
feeling
my
lucky.
God.
Oh, crap.
Valley.
I'm gonna use a point of hope, just at least to get the success, because I got an Eye of Sauron. Actually,
I got an Eye of Sauron as well, and I failed. So I get 2 fatigue,
Okay,
is
I
that
made
right?
it.
You get 2 fatigue for failure. It doesn't matter for getting an Eye of Sauron, except for the hunt score, which I am tracking.
Right, no, but I take 2 for failing, don't I?
2 for failing, yes.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so
Valley,
we got...
you got a fascinating result. You got a great success, an extraordinary.
Oh, no. Rufus.
yeah.
Got 3 6s as well as an Eye of Sauron. So I think this is you. Whatever you are doing, you are so kind of courageous and powerful that
I think I can do anything with this ring. That's what it is. Yeah.
Sauron can sense you. Because
Right. I buy
I
it.
think your wish for orcs.
That's because he keeps talking about.
Come on,
the
you
orcs.
cowards!
That's right.
Yeah,
That's in the OOC.
2 eyes rolled, which means we get to do 2 hazard tests.
Oh, get to.
Perfect.
Get to. Get to in this game.
What a treat.
Do I do my other travel first, or do we?
No, let's just do because this was just the first travel, and then we'll do
Oh.
another travel, and that'll be extra.
I did both of mine.
Did you do both?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
You didn't roll any eyes, did you?
No.
Okay, so we'll just do the 2 hazards for this first section. I gotta flip through to the right page. Dun, 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 dun.
Wow, Iris Harnan
Yeah,
6
I
and 6.
Okay, hazards table. All companions are gonna make a corruption test.
No, no.
Oh, Baranor, you've got that thing on you.
Yeah, it's
so-
not going to help.
Yeah, the ring. Everybody's going to make a corruption test at TN 16, which is a wisdom roll.
Now, I know how to do that, but just for the sake of people who don't know, how do I do that?
So, what you do is you click on the little die next to your wisdom score.
All right.
It'll roll the feat die plus a certain number of success die equal to your wisdom, and it's going to be TN 16.
16, core.
Everybody who succeeds, you're okay. Everybody who fails is going to gain a point of temp shadow.
He's a plucky little one.
Yes.
Baranor, look at you.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, Valley.
Is there anything we can add to that with hope, or is where we add a lot?
Orphin. So close.
Oh, no.
You could spend a point of hope to add your heart rating, but obviously your hope and shadow get 1 point closer either way.
Yeah.
Right.
I was hoping it was my witch, because my witch's base is 7.
Adding heart wouldn't help me.
It's easier to get hope back, it seems, than get rid of shadow.
Well,
that-
I just need to go crazy for a little bit, and I'll be fine.
Generally, I think in as rules as written, it's actually easier to reduce your shadow at the
It is, okay.
than it is to get hope back. Hope is basically like a finite resource. It's kind of like your youth.
Mhm.
You're young and inspired when you're in a first adventure, and then as you go out into the world, you lose that kind of youthful inspiration.
Okay, cool.
Has anybody hit the point where their hope and their shadow are equal?
Not yet.
No, but I've got a temp shadow there for failing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I got about 3 separating me, so
I'm close. I only have two. Two
it's
different.
going to rise if we get into the battle. I'm pretty sure. Or the
So
gap's going to
we're doing
shrink.
the second hazard for the ring. A 3. The guide, Baranor, another test for you.
Okay.
Oh, that's perfect. You're going to make a travel check, TN 16.
All right.
Don't lose us.
16.
No. Have you tampered with the rolling system?
Did you say there were 10 ring wraiths?
Exactly.
There are not 10 ring wraiths.
There were 4.
But there is a shadowy figure in the wilderness as you march through it, and Baranor, you leading the party through, come up through a sort of a veil, and standing at the other side of this sort of ford across a stream is, I need to switch to the other layer. This bad dude.
Mm-hmm.
Right here.
Oh, good.
What do you guys want to do?
So he is on the other side of water, correct?
He is on the other side of the stream, yes.
And is he aware of us?
Hard to tell, but almost certainly. I mean, you can't see his face or anything.
Yeah.
Is he approaching?
Or
is he just being ominous like?
But he is sort of standing there, robes sort of rustling in the wind, standing on the other side of this small stream. The stream is only a couple of feet across, and it's not, by stream what I mean is that there's a little bit of water over some rocks and sand. It's not.
It's a creek.
Is he not able to cross that? Is that? Are we
Well,
going on side?
Vampire?
I don't know.
There are no vampires here.
I'm an hobbit.
Okay, so I kind of turn to Orphin. I don't want to react like I'm scared. So this creature, person, whatever it might be, sees that we might be panicking. Do you think we should back off and go around the other way, or should we destroy him?
Do I know anything about this character?
Yeah, you have shadow lore, so you don't know for certain what this is, in the sense that it could just be a man in black robes, but you kind of doubt it. You have the feeling of there's something very wrong, and a sort of deep melancholy is coming over you as you see this figure there. It represents somehow everything kind of about the failure of the good forces in the world is coming to your mind as you stare at this figure.
What do you think? Should we run? No. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Orphin, you, I assume, have your bow out. It is not strung, but you start to string it, moving very quickly, and are getting the arrow ready. And then all of you hear, "You carry something precious," and it
Who's that then?
surges forward, sword out. Orphin, you'll get to make an opening volley, but nobody else will.
Spear.
So quickly.
I've got a
Okay,
spear.
so
Can I not throw a spear?
Nobody gets to make an opening volley except Orphin because he has a special ability.
Right.
Ooh.
He always,
that'll be-
mechanically speaking, elves always get one extra shot anyway, right?
No, mechanically speaking, he has taken, because of either 1 point of valor or 1 point of wisdom, I don't remember which one. One of the bonuses that he got is that his bow allows him to take an extra shot.
Oh, right.
I'm
All
pretty
right, then.
Point of valor. He has an easy to draw, Legolas style quick draw short bow.
All right. Keep behind me, lads.
a foe slaying a woodland bow.
Foe slaying woodland bow. That's what we got. So Orphin, the parry rating of this creature is 6. So you're going to make a shot at TN 18.
Oof. Here we go. I got faith in you, elf.
Oh man.
Oh, piercing shot.
Nice.
Whack.
Nice. Okay, so Orphin, that is a great success. So you do your bow's damage plus your personal damage to endurance. So your bow's damage is 5, and your personal damage is 4. So that is -9 to endurance as your arrow whips through the shadowy hood, and then
Take that, ugly.
technically, this thing has an interesting thing going on with the way that it works for protection tests. So you rolled a Gandalf rune, which is high enough to cause a wound threat, which means that it has to make a protection test, otherwise be wounded. Except that this is a ring wraith.
Oh shit.
So things work a little bit differently because your bane creature is orcs, not ring wraiths. So you don't get any bonus for bane. So it's going to make a protection test of what is your injury rating for your bow, Colin?
14.
14. Armor test TN 14.
No.
Nobody. Oh, he rolled a.
Sauron's good for them.
So Orphin, the arrow flies through, and this thing surges forward, comes down with its sword, and all you can do is put your bow in the way, in between you and the sword. And your bow, as soon as the sword makes contact, it's as if it shatters into 1,000 splinters, and you kind of fall backwards. You'll be able to stand up and act normally this round, but your bow has been destroyed by this creature.
Jesus. I mean, Elbereth.
All right.
So everybody choose your stance.
I have done so.
Defensive.
Orphin and Valley, you're going to need to choose your stance.
Having just said charge, I'm gathering forward is what I'm doing, isn't it?
Sure, charging in would be forward. But you can actually charge in as open or defensive also. It more refers to how kind of cautious you are fighting, how you're moving.
It's forward.
But forward would be good. So what it does is that there's a set target number plus a parry rating that is what you roll against to hit the enemies.
Arlen, you might want to turn the music down just a scooch.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Sorry.
No worries. Music is down. There's a set target number based on your stance plus the enemy's parry rating that determines how hard they are to hit. So it's easier to hit enemies in forward stance than it is in defensive stance. It is also easier for them to hit you when you're in forward stance than in defensive stance. So this ring wraith, it moves with this incredible speed. You couldn't say you've never seen something move this quickly. It is able to engage all of you as it strikes back and forth and parries and riposts and moves around. So it is just kind of in the midst of the clump of you. We're going to have to roll for initiative in this case because it might seize initiative. So who has the best battle score?
I've got 4.
Not me.
Yeah, that's not that. Let Tim roll that.
Yeah, not me. I got 1.
Nope.
All right, so Baranor,
Yeah.
I think you've got the battle. So roll battle TN 16.
Okay, here we go. Come on.
Oh, in your face.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
So what do you
Go
say?
back to the shadow.
Yeah, what do you say as you lead the charge into battle and seize initiative from this creature?
You have picked the wrong foes to make your stand against. And I unsheathe my blade and Dorstel. Shing! You're about to feel the bite of the hope of the West.
Excellent. Okay.
I am going to be using Intimidate the foe when I get to it.
Yeah. Everybody is in melee with this creature. So
Move the rear, Rufus.
I'm defensive.
Oh.
are you in melee or are you out of the way?
I'm in melee. I'm just in the defensive stance.
Yeah. So that doesn't matter for this because it's not making an actual attack. Everybody's going to make a wisdom check at TN 14 as you feel the black breath of this creature, the darkness that it is its very nature.
What's the TN?
TN 14. This would be a really good time to spend hope for those of you who fail.
I choose to. That gives me an extra 2.
Ooh, and I'll get a great success.
So
I will spend 1 hope.
There. Oh yeah, me too.
Me hope goes down then, yes?
Yep.
Right.
Yes, your hope goes down. So, everybody who succeeded, did everybody succeed after spending hope?
Great
Yeah.
success.
I didn't. I succeeded. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So, everybody who got a great success, you don't have to make any more black breath checks. So basically, your courage is able to steel you against the darkness to the point where this creature will not be able to harm you again without spending hate, which is its equivalent to hope. Everybody who succeeded with a regular success, every round you're going to have to make another check against the black breath as it continues to exude darkness.
Right.
But finally, we're into melee. So who would like to go first? We start with people in forward stance.
Could I?
I do need something first. I do need to declare who's getting protection. And Orphin, were you intending to get back to rearward so you can shoot at this blackguard?
He can't shoot. His bow just got destroyed.
Oh, his bow just got brought. Sorry, he's too soon. I will protect Orphin. What this allows me to do is, in the event he attacks you, I can spend a point of hope, and he has to attack me instead.
Yes.
And I'm harder to hit.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But anybody objecting for me to go first in combat?
Nope. Go right ahead.
Go for it.
Okay, I want to start the round by challenging the adversary. Clearna can sense the shadow in him, and it's deep, and it just riles her up, and she just wants to squash it. So that means he gets to roll twice when he attacks me and takes the best result, but so do I against him.
Roll everything twice against you, or
for the length of the fight, the challenging hero rolls a feat die twice, keeping the best result. We're making close combat attack rolls against a challenged creature. The challenged foe enjoys the same advantage.
okay, so just the feat die, not everything.
Yes.
Yes, but that's still pretty deadly because the feat die is how you cause wounds.
Mm-hmm. And then I'd like to just 2-weapon attack it.
Can you do both at the same
It
round?
says at the beginning of the round I make the choice, and then the 2-weapon fighting is my attack action.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I'll do.
So its parry is 6, so it's going to be TN 12 for your attacks.
Gotcha. Okay.
With whatever adjustment that
Is it in open?
The 2-weapon just makes
it doesn't have a stance. Enemies don't have a stance. I'm just putting him there to represent that he's kind of in the midst of the clump of you.
Right.
The 2-weapon fighting only makes it slightly easier for him to hit me by 2.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with the Great Forest Axe and just swing it at him, just screaming in rage. And what was my number?
Is 12.
Oh, he's going to get killed. And if that hits, when do I get to add my personal? Is when I get a success on it?
So when you get a great success or an extraordinary success, you get to add your personal damage rating. Otherwise, you just use the damage rating of the weapon.
Yeah, it'd be my favorite because of my special skill.
And
so,
that's not an injury threat, is it? No.
It's edge of 9 or edge of G for
Gandalf.
Yeah.
So yeah, not.
So then she'll follow up with a dagger. Oh, that one doesn't hit. Okay. So the damage for the Great Axe is 9.
Okay.
So she swings it at him, and then as it impacts, she just tries to go for where his heart should be with a dagger.
Let me let you guys see the health and hate bars of this creature just to make it really exciting.
Right.
Oh, wait. I don't roll the feat die for my weapon attack, do I?
You do.
Oh, so let me try again with that. I'm going to try again with both of them because I might get a threat against them.
Yeah.
Right.
So Great Axe, no dagger.
Is
Hit.
Oh, so the dagger hits.
all right.
So 3 more damage for the dagger.
3 more. Excellent.
And he doesn't have to attack me, but he can. There's an advantage.
Yeah, I'm going to just roll randomly for who he attacks, unless Baranor declares his lineage, in which case I think
I'm going
screwed.
to.
Do it.
Yep.
I'm going
I'm
to.
going to murder him
No.
if you do that.
Valley, Orphin, and Baranor. One of you can go next.
All right, I'm gonna. I can't hold myself back. I have unsheathed my blade. I make sure he sees the craftsmanship up close in his face, and I said, "For the kings of Aranor, you shall be struck down." And I rush him with no heed for myself as I attempt to intimidate him as part of my attack.
Mm.
So my TN is 10 plus his attribute
Is 14.
Yes. 14. Okay, so here we go. Using battle. Yes.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Okay, so
You're really good at sword
one
swinging.
so 2 hate points.
2 hate points from him.
Mhm.
Nice job. So you can see he raises his sword and he does a sort of duelist salute with it towards you, Baranor.
Excellent. And then now I slash at him with my long sword. What's my TN? 8?
Is 6 plus 6 is 12.
12. All right, here we go. Yes. Oh,
Nice.
extraordinary success.
So you do Endun Estelle's damage rating plus
Yeah. Which is
Twice.
7.
Twice.
your personal damage rating.
So that's a total of 21.
Nice.
Oh,
So
he's not
good.
dead. He's not dead.
Okay, Baranor has done his thing. Vali,
I'm going to swing my axe. I think that's just
Go for his kneecaps.
There we
Cut him
go.
down to Rufus's size.
Target number.
target number is 12.
Hey.
Nice.
And is
Awesome.
that an injury?
My injury says 20 here.
Not injury.
Edge.
Edge.
Just G.
Okay, so not. So you don't have to make an armor test. But what is your damage rating?
9 damage.
All right.
It's a big axe.
You can
Nice.
see that this creature, this slash across, it sort of pulls at its robes and twists at it, and it twists around, and it lowers the sword for a moment, and then Orphin, you're gonna get to go, and then it's gonna get to go before Rufus does.
We probably can't kill it until we wound it.
Okay.
Eat dwarf axe. Yes.
I think I just spring at it.
Remember,
Oh.
I'm no man.
Right.
Orphin, it parries you away quickly and easily. And then it lost some of its hate because you made it weary. But then it's going to spend another point of hate. And let me double check.
That's thrown me off losing my bow. That's thrown
My
me off.
screen is showing
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
pretty much empty here.
We
This
can
is-
fix
Actually-
it. We can fix it.
I can give you mine too in the meantime.
Yeah, so it
You
Turn-
can have mine too, Orphin.
towards Baranor and it sort of feints at him
Blink, blink, blink.
with the sword as part of the riposte. Baranor, you have been bewildered, which means that you lose your personal parry rating to your defense. So
Okay.
your defense rating, its target number to hit you is down to only 6.
Okay.
And it's going to go again as soon as Rufus is done with his action.
Yes.
All right.
No, it can go twice.
Let's see here.
No.
Yeah.
So no
Well,
one's.
it did spend a hate point, so I'm hoping that's
So I'm gonna jump forward, get my short sword out. Trusty, is my short sword my? thing. No, that's my armor. My armor is my thing. I'll jump in and try and stick him with my blade. Let's see.
Get him.
What's it? What's my TN? Is it 12?
It is 18 because you're in defensive stance.
All right, here we go.
Come
It's
on,
all right.
Rufus.
I'm an expert with me short sword.
You
Take
can
that,
do it.
ugly.
Oh.
Oh no.
That's
Not
nowhere
enough
near.
to connect once again.
Oh, wait, but if I spent my ope, I could hit when I use my favored. It's because my short sword's underlined. I had my favored body, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So I could hit at 18. I'll do that.
Excellent.
As I was saying.
Another
Take that,
slash
ugly.
through the robes, and you can see where it has its sword is the sort of cheap, evil iron that they make weapons out of in Mordor, and it's getting notches and dents along it, and it this thing is looking a little ragged at
My
this,
damage is only 5.
but it is definitely not down yet.
Cool.
Okay, so then I need to roll randomly to see who it attacks.
No, you don't. You have to attack me.
Does it have
Remember? He revealed himself.
When I reveal myself, the opponent must then, I can read it to you. From that point on, all your foes gain the hatred, Dunedain special ability, and will attack you when given the opportunity.
Okay, that is
Unfortunate for me, but
unfortunate
unless-
for you because he bewildered you. But
exactly.
But remember, Rufus designated him as.
No,
Thing-
I designated Orphin.
Oh,
It's all right. I know how this works now.
change it.
so
Change it.
first attack.
Next time.
Oh, what is the great thing? Oh, it's weary. Ah, I
Right
got it.
thing means that it's weary. So that 3 and that 1 don't add to its total, but it was only going against the 6.
Yeah.
So Baranor, you are going to lose 9 points of endurance.
Okay.
But no great success. No wounding.
No,
so-
that could be a lot worse.
Does that make you weary?
So now let's see. Oops. 9. 17. What's the one am I comparing against?
So you are comparing your total fatigue versus your total endurance.
My total fatigue, which I only have from my travel.
Travel
Yeah.
and encumbrance.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a
So
second.
on the sheet, it
Yeah.
said total fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Total fatigue
20.
Is
So my endurance. So now my endurance is. How much did I take in endurance just now?
9.
9.
Yeah, because I never healed, so I am way below, actually.
So you're weary.
Unless I made some mistake at some point.
No, I think that's correct. So you dodge out of the way at the last second, spending whatever reserves of energy you were drawing upon to not actually get slashed by this thing's sword. So it is going to spend another point of hate and make another attack on Baranor.
Excellent.
All right, target number 6.
Two. Bad for you.
Yes!
Bad.
Damn it.
You have no power here.
And then it gets to make one more,
Okay.
unfortunately.
It attacked him and hit the ring and it bounced off.
Is there no other consequence for him rolling a Gandalf rune?
For him rolling a Gandalf rune, no. Because it wasn't a called shot. If it had been a special attack, then there would be a consequence, a fumble, basically. But as it is, Gandalf is bad for them, and Eyes of Sauron are good for them.
Oh, I think he should lose an 8. Doesn't really matter what I think, but
Doesn't really matter what you think. Okay,
Okay,
so
that hits.
strike this time.
And that's a great success.
great
It's going to
success.
take away 8,
But no wounding though.
but no wounding.
That's something.
8 endurance.
So I have 8 endurance, so I go to 0 endurance.
Does he
So-
fall down then?
So it slashes across at you. You get Endun Estelle in the way just in time, but as he basically just smashes through your guard with his claw, knocks you aside, and you are on the ground, basically hovering on the verge of unconsciousness.
No! Oh, when can I change my stance?
So That's the end of the round.
Right.
Everybody who did not get a great success against the Black Breath needs to make another corruption check.
Okay, I can do that.
Tis nothing.
Another corruption check at TN 14.
So what? So I got 6
Got it.
and 6 and 3 or something. So that's a.
If you rolled a 6 in your first
Whoa.
test, you got a great success.
Yeah, that's
doesn't
You don't
get
need to roll
forfeit
again.
off.
I think neither of us needs to roll again.
Yeah.
I just need to roll again because I'm the only one that hasn't.
Somehow my hope went right down. I don't know how that's happened. I'm trying to add.
Orphin.
It should be.
Right. So
Orphin
we-
and Cleona and Baranor, you are just on the ground, unconscious, so you don't need to check.
can we move stances now?
Now you can change stances.
Get off of him, you bully!
Was that a great success? All them sixes.
That is an extraordinary success.
Yeah.
So
You don't
that's me. I don't know more breath problems.
Cleona, you still have problems with the Black Breath.
Well, naturally, it fits the character.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
It's not affecting me, but I feel it.
So,
Right.
once again, it's the hero's turn.
Right.
Okay.
Not
If no one
me.
else is jumping in, Rufus is going to get him. Get off of him! What's my target number? Is it a 12 now?
It is a 12 now.
You brute.
No.
And I'll spend one more point of hope. So that becomes an 18 then.
Excellent. So yeah, you once again tag him in the robes. This creature, you haven't wounded him or anything. There's no blood. There's nothing. You aren't sure what exactly you're hitting when your blade passes through some of it, but it's looking real ragged at this point.
Well, if it's still up when he's done with it, Cleona's going to step up.
Cleona's going to step up.
Actually, sneak up from behind him and try to decapitate him. So,
Excellent.
everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Go
Okay,
for
so
it.
she's still challenging him, so I'm going to roll twice, and it's 12.
Yes, 12.
Yes!
Okay, well, I'm going to roll twice just in case it threats a wound.
Oh,
And
No
then,
wound.
but it's still a hit. Oh, no. Well, I keep the best roll, so I can ignore that Sauron. Yes.
nice.
No, none of that threatens an injury, but so I hit him, so that's 9 and 3 more damage, so 12.
So you hit him kind of up in the shoulder, and this creature, as your axe sort of bites in, it spins around and is sort of twisting and turning and doing its best to put its blade in between it and each of you. But obviously, as it is outnumbered, it's in trouble.
It was in trouble when it decided to pick up a fight against Pappy Burrows' boy.
That's right.
Okay. Can't
Now,
believe I didn't
what's
roll.
happening mechanically behind the scenes here? Are we waiting to wound him, or is he taking...
So mechanically, well, let's go to the end of this round, and then I'll let you all roll for lore to have some idea of how to actually fight this thing.
I've got
Right.
Shadow Lord.
Okay.
That seems good. So Cleona and Rufus have gone. Valley and Orphin.
Me. Can I go next?
Yes.
Go for it.
Thank you. Swinging my axe again. Thank
Gandalf, Gandalf, Gandalf,
Target number was
Gandalf,
Was 12.
12.
Gandalf.
Oh, 12 spot on.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's just a straight 9 again.
Excellent.
Apply
Another
axe to Ed.
slash through its robes. You can start to see underneath the robe there's a sort of like inky blackness, almost kind of like a weird foggy thing that is starting to appear beneath these rents and tears in the robes. Its sword is notched and tattered all along the edge, but it is still coming.
Not for long. Here comes Orphin.
Orphin.
Get him.
You keep mentioning that sword. Do I need to disarm him or something like that?
That's an idea.
Do it.
I will attempt to disarm.
Nice.
How do you do that?
That
I've
is
got a disarm as a called shot.
so. What
Wow.
you need to do is make a successful hit that is a great success, and if you do that, then he has to make a protection test. Otherwise, he is disarmed.
Right.
Okay.
Take that Morgul blade back.
Yes.
Oh,
Can
he
you
didn't hit
spend some hope to
Hope,
make it a
hope.
success?
I can, but I will lose my shit.
Ah, gotcha.
Can I spend hope to help him?
But you cannot spend hope for Orphin. It has to be Orphin's hope. So Orphin, mechanically, if you spend a point of hope here and go miserable, then if you roll an Eye of Sauron, you will go mad, but you won't actually go mad yet.
Do
Okay.
it. Do
Yeah,
it.
do it. Yeah, do
I'll
it.
join
No
you.
question. No
Let's see what happens.
Excellent. So, Orphin, you strike at him, send the sword flying off, and it lands just behind him. He is going to spend a point of hope to make
Or
a
hate.
quick action and flurries over to it, draws it out. You're standing in the stream at this point, and there's a sort of spray of water as he pulls it up, and he's going to start making some attacks.
He made his protection roll?
Oh, he has to make a protection roll. He's going to make it, but
He could roll with Gandalf.
he could roll a Gandalf. Protection roll. Orphin, what is your natural damage? Your body rating.
You're naughty rating.
Body.
Body.
I think
You
that's
know,
right.
elves have such stats.
Oh yeah, so
That's not actually how it happened correctly.
4.
Let me call shots. What does he have to do? Oh no, he doesn't get to make a protection rating.
Nice.
So that's why he lost the sword, right? He lost the sword just
Cool.
fine. But then he spent a point of hate to take another action to go grab it again and pull it up and start attacking. So we're going to roll randomly to see who he is going to.
I know it's abstracted, but we don't get a chance to hit him when he's got no sword, do we?
He is far too quick for that.
Is that his 8?
That's his hate. He is sped on by the power of the shadow in a way that you just cannot react to.
This may be an unpopular opinion, guys, but I don't really like these things.
So, Fiona,
Oh,
I'm with
he's attacking me?
he's going to attack you. On
Brilliant.
sword, what is your parry rating?
My parry rating is 7.
Wow.
Oh, no, she has like high wits. That's one thing I gave her because, yeah.
So yeah, that's target number 13.
Is it worth putting?
You're
on the ring?
miserable. Oh, great.
So
That's not good.
that is 13 points of endurance lost, and there's a chance that he just wounded you.
I'm getting a point of shadow and ignoring it.
Excellent.
Temporary shadow jumps up to 7.
Wow.
He gets to go again, right? Remember, he's
Bring
got
it on. Yeah, no, I get to ignore the loss of endurance. So
Why don't you pick on someone your size, ugly?
I can only do it if it would make me weary, and it would have. So
Okay, but you have to make a protection test. Otherwise, you just got actually slashed across the chest and are bleeding.
okay. So protection. So I add my armor and helmet into it, or
Protection test is going to be TN 18. You just click the little die next to your armor.
okay.
18.
I can invoke my heart as well as my body because of the thing I have. So
Yeah.
that's 6 total there. Oh, in your
Ooh,
face,
yeah.
shadow
Up,
bastard.
rude. Fuck them.
So
Does this count as a feat roll for challenge adversary?
oh, he gets to roll.
Oh no, he gets to pick the best. But does my protection thing count as the thing I can roll twice?
You don't need to. You automatically succeeded.
I know, but if I
Yeah.
had failed, could I roll it twice because of the challenging thing I got going on?
No.
Okay.
But you succeeded. He strikes at you. He connects and even bites into your flesh just a little bit, but the sword is knocked off your armor and doesn't do any lasting
Yes.
to you.
Feel the hate flow through you.
Okay.
Come at me.
Wow.
Spend all of it.
Let's
Awesome.
make a claw attack.
Yes.
For
Nice.
you.
That's not good enough.
So he can pick the best one because
Make the
challenge.
best feat die. So
All right.
do it again.
No,
Nice.
sucks for you.
He does not connect with his claws.
So she's just like batting back and forth, just screaming in his face, kicking at him, and her speed is almost matching his as she draws on the shadow to fight back.
All right. Is that the end of the round?
That is the end of the round.
How do we fight this thing?
Wound it!
So,
Yeah.
Cleona, you're going to make another black breath test, and then we're going to talk about how you fight this thing.
Okay.
Is it? I'm wondering, is it something to do with putting on the
14
ring?
or 16 target number?
Target number 14
Okay.
for your test.
Eat me.
I wonder if we have to intimidate this thing into leaving. Get out of here, ugly.
So,
Nice job, Cleona.
everybody with shadow lore is going to make a TN 14 roll. Everybody without, it's going to be TN 18.
So
18 lore, is that right?
I have shadow. Oh, so okay.
So, and I'm just trying to figure out.
Oh, Springs Eternal here.
You said 14 for shadow lore.
I feel like I actually could. I can still act at a 0 endurance. I'm just weary.
I don't think so.
It's only if I'm wounded, and I'm just trying to figure out this chart. But that's fine.
Do we do this with wisdom?
With wisdom.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
No, I got
the
it.
wisdom check.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
wisdom or lore?
It's lore. TN 14 or 18, depending on if you have shadow lore.
Where's
Oh,
wisdom come in?
I failed.
Orphin just asked about wisdom.
Oh.
Cleona's just so into it, she can't think. She's just reacting.
Yeah. That's,
So we still don't know then.
Rufus doesn't know. Valley doesn't know. Cleona
I'm
doesn't
gonna
know.
cut
Orphin
it.
doesn't know. This might be a good time to spend some hope.
You don't want me to spend hope.
Orphin is already miserable.
I can. Sorry, TN 12.
For
Is
what?
that right?
Oh, Orphin got it. No.
Or roll, you did it right. TN 18 lore roll.
TN 18.
Yeah. So you can't spend hope, but Orphin, you could spend some hope and learn something and maybe shout to your allies.
Won't help my roll either.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be. What happens when you go lower hope than shadow?
You're already miserable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, then I'll spend it.
Excellent.
Nice.
So Orphin, what you know a couple things. So the first off is that there are a couple of ways to fight these creatures. One of them is to use one of the weapons that is specifically crafted with the spells and the enchantments and the cunning to hurt these things. You also know that one of the good ways to try to drive them off is that if you can hurt them enough and cause them to run out of hate points mechanically, if you can do enough to intimidate them and demoralize them, they may not be able to exert their will in the world enough to continue fighting.
How can we make them lose 8 then?
So if you're in forward stance,
Right.
you can choose Intimidate Foe and roll your battle to try to make him lose some hate.
Well, let's assume we've got no good battle.
And
What's
also,
plan 2?
The other one is, I think it's battle or awe.
His hate is very low, yes.
Let's assume we've also got an even worse awe. Is there anything else? Can we use Riddle to taunt him?
I'm going to cut him to pieces so small that he can't do anything.
You can encourage everyone else.
Right. You could try to roll so well on your feat die that you make him make an armor test.
Right. Well, is there anything better than just rolling and hoping for good?
Hopefully your allies will try to take away some of his hate before he turns to you, Rufus.
Let's see. What can I do?
His hate is pretty low. You guys can see.
Yeah. He just needs to spend a few more points of it to attack me, and he's gone.
Oh, wait, what does Rally Comrades do?
Rally Comrades, I have the page open. Rally Comrades gives endurance back.
Means we can get Finder back up
Yeah,
again.
get him back up.
Back to all fighting companions.
He's fighting, isn't he? He's fighting for his life.
That's true.
I don't think he can. 'Cause what you're doing is you're singing, basically.
What about in Arton?
Can
comrades?
you heal during combat, or is that only after?
You heal after.
Yeah. Fine.
Okay.
Okay, that's not right.
And we haven't got a weapon that is good enough to fit that description.
Well, Baranor does
Yeah.
an Estelle say.
Yeah.
My axe is special, but I don't think it's enchanted.
I could pick up Baranor's sword if he ain't using it.
Yes, you could. And you know I would be fine with that.
And hopefully I won't get it busted like my bow.
Well, I'd appreciate that too.
So are you saying
Baranor, in fact, Andun Estelle says something new under it because I think it's appropriate.
Arlen, are you saying that we can't if I use rally comrades that Baranor would not benefit from that?
Baranor would not. He can't hear you because he's unconscious.
You said we have to break
Nice.
his armor, right?
So, if you remember, if you roll well enough on your feat die, you make him make a protection test, and if he is wounded, that might also drive him off.
Right. Well,
But yes, his hate is pretty low.
how's everyone doing? No one's really terribly hurt as far as I can say, so I don't need to rally yet. I'll try and cut him down. Come on, Blade. Go true.
All right. So initiative is still with the company. Everybody is in forward stance. Who would like to go first?
Want me to try? I get like four rolls at him, so
You go try, yeah.
okay. Same thing. I'm still going to be challenging him. I'm on a 2-weapon fight. Take a
Yep.
great axe. Go ahead.
Challenging 2-weapon fight. Let's go.
Yeah, great axe to the face. Nope, I'm ignoring that roll. I can't. I'm not picking that one. I'll go with that one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then followed up. That 10 is not a threat for my axe.
Okay.
That's a dagger. Let's go with the other roll. Okay, so I hit him with the axe once. And my damage is based on my favored score. That doesn't.
What's a great success do in combat?
Great success means that you do your weapons damage rating as well as your personal damage rating.
So which does nothing when he's got no hit
Well,
points left.
he doesn't have any endurance left. So yeah, you're keeping hitting him. You are making him mad, but you're not. He's
Well,
already weary.
That's what I want him to do. I want him to focus on me and spend his hate.
And
Feel it towards me.
the strategy was actually really good. Cleona got a lot of chances to roll that feat die to try to get a wound on him.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
All right, Valley, why don't you go?
Yeah, can I try? I want to try my battle. It's not very high, but I want to try and piss him off. That's what we said, wasn't it? That was one option.
Do
Battle at TN14 to
Yeah, I don't have very much, but let's give it a go.
You can spend hope. You have more hope than the rest of us.
Yeah, let's do that. Yes, that's true. I haven't.
You can choose afterwards, but
yeah, you choose afterwards.
Nice.
definitely do it.
Right. Oh, yeah, TN14. Yeah, let's do it. So I'm adding heart, aren't I? So it's only another 3, but it succeeds.
Is battle underlined?
No.
It doesn't matter. It's enough to.
Enough
Okay,
to succeed.
so
Just spend it. There it
you
is.
take away his last point of hate as you intimidate this
Nice.
creature.
Awesome.
He's not going to leave yet, though.
Ah,
Of course not.
So mechanically what's happened is that now he can be wounded by literally anything.
Get him, Rufus. In the rear end. Just
There he
right
comes!
up there. Twist
You
it.
don't need a special weapon to actually wound him and drive him off.
Okay,
Don't. Or
take
also,
that
get it.
ugly, and I'll spend my hope. So it's a 18 and a great success.
Nice.
You shouldn't spend a point of hope here, because remember what you're trying to do. You're not trying to take away his endurance. You're trying to wound him. You're trying to actually get like a hit on his body that
Right.
sticks.
So I'm just rolling and rolling, trying to get an I number on my 12.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless you have a weapon that threatens on the lower one, which I'm going to switch to next turn.
A weapon
Alright.
that threatens, or what does Finders
It's 10.
and do Estelle? Does it not have? It does extra endurance loss.
It does endurance loss.
So extra endurance loss and damage, but it doesn't have. If
But its edge is 10.
that would have been really useful because Orphin's bow causes wounds at a lower rating. But yeah,
All
Yeah.
right.
My edge though is 10. So it's
edge those 10, so that might be a little bit better.
a little bit better.
But I have a spear that has a 9, so I'm about to whip that out and hit him with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
All right.
Rufus has attacked. Valley has attacked. Cleona has attacked. Orphin, are you going to attack?
Do I have time to pick up Baranor's sword? Or
Well, what I was wondering is if do I have enough consciousness to like unsheath it and like hold it out?
It's already pulled
I think
out.
it is lying on the ground next to you because you had it out when
That's
you
true.
conscious.
When I went down, that's true.
So I think it is sort of stuck in the stream. Or if you could do something awesome like roll underneath its blade and pick up Endun Estelle and try to get a deadly
jab up into him, yeah, from the ground. Yeah, that is what I will do.
Do you have any training with swords?
I think so. It's on my list. I don't.
Is it
I've
a
got-
Endun Estelle is a long sword. I don't think
Just
you have.
says just says sword on my thing.
Yeah, so that's a regular size sword. Endun Estelle is like a bastard sword, basically.
Oh,
So
can I
you
not-
get to roll just your feat die. So you can roll anything, and we'll just take the feat die result.
okay. Target number 12 still, or has that changed now?
Target number 12.
Come on, 10.
Oh, for
No.
Oh, an Orphin.
I'll have a set.
So you reach down, you grab this sword and pull back and swing, and it blocks and twists the sword around, knocks it out of your hand, and screams at you, and you can't do anything. You're in such complete, absolute, abject terror. This has been so much for you. You can do nothing but run. So you're going to run from the fight
This is going well.
and abandon your fellows. But the sword is still there.
Perfect. Who goes next?
It goes next. So it's going to attack Cleona.
Oh, did it roll, or is it just that mad at me?
It's, well, I'll have it roll since there's still a target-rich environment. It definitely attacks Cleona.
that's it, man. I'm going into the west.
Come
I'm done.
on.
It's time.
You can see Cleona drawing more and more on the shadow, and her
He's
eyes are starting.
diminishing.
Oh. Okay, so Cleona, another endurance loss of 9.
Okay. Her temporary shadow flares again, and she starts exuding shadow around her body as her hope and shadow come into contact.
And you make a protection test
Okay.
because he rolled an Eye of Sauron.
Okay, what's my target number?
Target number of 18.
Really?
He's got a really deadly weapon. And
Okay.
it's basically a serrated edge now. So
Okay.
he has not just slashed at you and caused you to dodge away or hit your armor and knocked you. He full on has slashed into you and cuts a deep and jagged strike across your shoulder and down into your chest, and it blazes with pain.
A question: how's that going to work? Because I can ignore like the blow that he dealt me, but this just how would that react with like? Does she not feel it consciously while she's fighting? 'Cause it did no endurance damage to me.
Yeah. So she doesn't. She is so mad. She doesn't have that kind of shock. She doesn't. Right. A normal person would be on the verge of going into shock at this point because they just got slashed with a sword.
Okay.
You're not going to go into shock because you're a hero, and doubly so because you drew on the shadow to resist the loss.
Okay, so she's bleeding, but she doesn't even notice it.
She's bleeding, but she doesn't even notice it.
Okay.
But he gets to make a claw attack.
Okay.
This is
Bring it on.
all right. Another loss of 4 endurance.
Okay, that will not knock me down below, so I'll accept the endurance loss.
Okay. So it smashes at you with its claws. Again, you get your weapons in between. Okay. So.
Because I'm guessing that she brought up her dagger and knocked his blow aside, but it numbed her hand for a second, because she's just going to reach out and grab her spear next. So, what she's going to do.
All right. Your guys' turn again.
Anybody want me to go first again, or we're going to discuss something?
I'm going to snatch that sword in my 2 little hands, and I'm going to try and swing it into this thing.
Go for it.
Excellent.
So my the only skill I've got is short sword. I don't have any skill in swords otherwise.
Yeah, but you get to roll your feat die with everything you do. So
let's click on something that just a raw feat dice.
Just click on.
We have a hobbit.
There isn't a raw feat dice one, and I think, but just click on your weapon skill, and we'll subtract the success die from it.
I got this covered. What's that? Is it 12?
You need 10 or 11 or 12.
Okay. Here we go. That ain't good.
No.
No connection. The sword is so big and heavy, and it just bats it aside easily.
Okay, Cleona go
I
after
named
him.
the sword Baranor's Revenge.
Cleona.
Well,
Okay. So she's gonna do the same as before. Keep challenging him in 2-weapon fight.
Challenge him. Keep 2-weapon fighting. This is the best odds that you guys have.
That's gonna threaten an injury.
yeah.
That's not gonna help. Let me try one more time with the axe. Nope. And then the spear time. This gives me a 9, 10, or Gandalf will threaten. Nope. One more shot. Come on. Okay. I'm trying. So she's like stabbing at him and hacking at him and just, go down, you bastard.
It's all Valley. Here we go, Valley.
Valley?
It's about chopping with my axe, isn't it? Really? I mean, that's the
Yeah, that's
the option.
these things are nasty. This is
Yeah, they're appropriately dangerous and scary.
What's my target number?
although you have to wonder target number of 12. But I mean, it doesn't matter because normal successes will only take away endurance, and it's already lost all its
Well,
endurance.
you could try doing a cold shot.
And stuff, aren't we? And some
But you could try doing the axe called shot is shatter shield.
Yeah,
so
but I've got a spear now, so maybe that one
you
will
could
work.
do a called shot, Cleona. Yes.
If I survive another round.
we go.
So close to the
Nothing. There's no point spending anything, is there? I just didn't get what I needed.
You didn't get what you needed.
Cool.
It's striking back and forth. Okay, Cleona.
Bring it on. I can spin shadow all day. Oh, that's
all right.
Well,
That is a success. So that's
12. Is my target number 12, or does my parry come into it?
your target number is 13.
Is it? Does my parry not come into play when I'm in forward stance?
Your parry does come into play. Your parry is in play right now. It's 6 plus 7 is 13.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Okay.
So 4 more points of endurance loss or a shadow.
I'll take the shadow.
Okay.
I can lose all of this and just one permanent shadow is all I get. So bring it.
Is there some way I can try and draw it to attack me instead? Because I'm robust and healthy, but there's no point me being on my own. Is there some way I can, on my turn, encourage it in my direction?
Yeah, we can. So what I'm doing is rolling randomly with numbers assigned for who it attacks, and we can say that it has a higher chance of attacking you now on the random roll for who it attacks. If you'd like.
Baranor, what's your
Yeah.
what's the number I need to wound with this sword?
10, 11, or a Gandalf.
Well,
No 11s. 11s are Eyes of Sauron, so a 10 or a Gandalf.
I
sorry,
have an
yes,
idea
right.
then. I know what I need to do.
So are we going back to us attacking it?
Back to you guys.
Okay. Cleona is going just called shot. She's gonna go for where she thinks it's weakest at, and just
Yeah, so you can't make 2 attacks with the called shot. You can only do.
since I'm challenging it, I can.
Uh,
I get not 2
roll
attacks, 2
twice.
rolls. So,
you
yeah.
can't make an attack with your great axe and your
Okay.
called shot with your spear.
Yeah, I'm gonna just call shot with a spear and roll it twice because it's challenging.
Yep.
So here goes. Target
go.
12.
Target 12.
Oh, he's dead.
Nice!
Fuck you.
Nice.
Goodbye.
Nice.
She just, I am no man. Right in his face.
With a great success.
Distracted by Varley, I feel.
Which end of the sword do I wield?
That's right.
Because
What
I imagine Cleona was
or-
getting to the point to where she was radiating shadow like the wraith and just moving so fast, and suddenly she just
What's the injury rating for the spear?
It's a 9. Oh no, I'm sorry. Injury rating for the spear.
Yeah.
14.
14.
No.
Nice.
Goodbye, wraith.
So you stab it where its chest ought to be and just follow all the way through, smashing into it physically, and it lets out this horrifying screech. This screech is so it's gonna do so.
Can I sneer at it and bring my great axe down on its head as it dies?
Well, actually, you need to make a valor test.
Okay. Valor. What's my target number?
14.
Okay. No. No. I win.
So that's really good, because otherwise what would have happened is that your spear would have shattered into a billion pieces in your hands and you would have gotten injured by the fragments of the spear falling. But instead what happens is that your courage is able to hold this weapon together just long enough to hold it in this creature. It is screaming, and suddenly there's nothing there. There's a bent and battered sword lying on the ground. There's a feeling of deep and kind of impossibly raw melancholy in your hearts.
She's going to take a knee and just breathe. And she's injured. She lets everybody
I'm
know.
going over to find her.
She can
Find her.
help heal.
Find her.
But-
I've got your sword. Find her. Wake up.
I try to open an eye.
Yeah. So
I'm good at healing.
you're going to regain endurance equal to your heart rating over the course of
Okay.
30 minutes.
That was intense.
Totally.
Valley or Cleona. Well, Valley, if you can heal, or Cleona, if you want to try it, whoever wants to try it can roll a healing test at TN14 to see if they can patch up Cleona's actual wound.
She is really
I
good
would
at
love
healing.
to do that.
Even with
Nice.
that.
Nice.
Cleona's really good at healing.
Oh, okay.
No, you can't have that. See, nope, ignore that.
Here, I can use my
Yeah,
axe.
I never
Come here.
rolled that. I never rolled that. I didn't need to. That never happened.
So, let us
Orphin.
hear
Orphin.
to Orphin.
Where'd you
Orphin,
go?
what are you gonna do as you sort of regain full consciousness and you're in the midst of the wilderness of the lone lands, and you can't see your friends or anything noteworthy around you? You are basically just out in this unmarked region of the map.
I'm going to go track down the elf once I get situated.
Yeah.
I'm just going to find the nearest little brook or stream, and I'm going to like drop down onto my knees forlornly, just toss down my sword on the floor like that, just toss it down, drop down to my knees and just start splashing water on my face. And then I'm just going to like be crouched over, staring into the stream and just watching the
Orphin?
water,
Orphin.
So, is there something
shaking my head.
Where are you?
there's something that happens when your like shadow gets close to your total hope?
Is it close?
I have a total hope of 12. I got 8 remaining, but I have 10 shadow at the moment.
So nothing mechanically is going to happen yet.
Okay. But something bad happens if it reaches it?
Don't roll an Eye of Sauron on this hunting roll to try to find Orphin. I'll say that.
Can still
Who's
spend
rolling?
So, Cleona, you get to roll a hunting roll. You have tracking, right?
I do.
So, T and 10, you can.
Okay, phew.
Okay. So you can see you bandage
She
yourself.
comes back and there's no sign of the elf. She's all dead. Yeah.
You can't see Orphin, but you can see where he went. What do you say to the party to gather them up to go find Orphin?
It's like I've located the elf's tracks. We must find him swiftly for the shadow takes him.
Absolutely. Where is he? He do the same for us.
She lifts her head up and like the wind blows and she can feel the shadow going dump 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 and she points and he's that way. I can feel him and she starts running off after him.
Baranor, are you okay to run?
I need to run. We must get back to Elrond and report this as soon as we possibly can.
So, you run along. Cleona, you're in the lead. I assume Rufus and Valley and Baranor are doing their best to keep up with you, but it's difficult because you're, a fit Dunlending warrior.
And I imagine she's showing some signs of shadow taint, and she's like twitchy and moving a little bit like the wraith.
Yep. And you come to Orphin sitting at the edge of the stream, his sword lying on the ground, cuts and bruises just all over him from where he ran through the wilderness stuff without any care for his own safety.
She's going to like run up right to him, like 5 feet away, and then drop to her knees and just sit there and breathe as the others catch up.
I think I'm the last one to get there.
Yep. So, Orphin, mechanically, you get to get rid of all your temporary shadow and add 1 permanent shadow.
He says so, hopefully.
So tie me up and put me in a room, and then that can happen to me, so everybody's safe. She might murder somebody if she's not careful.
All right, when I get there, I'm going to run over to Orphin, and are you all right? Are you all right, Orphin? Did he do something to you?
I am not all right, Rufus. This is a bad day for Orphin and his line.
I'm going to give him a big hug. If he's on his knees, he's about my right height. I'll give him a big hug. It's all right. It's all right. He's gone now. Baranor's okay. It's all right. We got to go see Elrond.
Did you have any of that cider left, Rufus?
I do. I'll get some of that for him, pour it out, and let him get some. I tell you what, Orphin, it's not really my first choice stuff, but I'll tell you what we'll do. As soon as we get back to Rivendell, we're going to tap into his, I'm not sure if you've had a look at his wine cellar. He's quite known. He may have be known for his learning, but I say that we're going to be exploring that. What say you and me?
Help us to my feet, Rufus. Help us to my feet.
Use my shoulder. Use my shoulder.
And I just press myself up. Take a big breath. Pick up my sword and back into the sheath.
Orphin. And I'll sheepishly take out my bag. And I open it up. And I bring out the remnants of your bow. I didn't want to see this left behind.
Yeah, that's good of you. And
I was let down by an elf.
I just stick it back in a bag.
I don't know how to fix that, but I'll bet you them at Rivendell might know that.
Should we get a live roll for what negative trait Orphin gets this time?
I'm going to do that while you guys are making travel rolls to get back to Rivendell.
Oh,
so,
we still got one more, don't we?
You got one more to get back to Bree. You've got more than that to get back to Rivendell. And Cleona is miserable, so if she rolls an Eye of Sauron, she's going to have a bout of madness too.
Right.
Yes, I did 2 rolls. We got one more.
Hey, she's built for one thing, and that's to fight the shadow until she dies. That's her purpose.
All right.
Or until she dies or succumbs to it, yeah?
Until she dies or succumbs to it.
She fully expects you to kill her when that happens. So
I still got one.
Just make sure her daughter gets her axe.
I'm using my extra dice on this roll, just to be sure. Oh no, I can. Can I give it to someone?
Yeah.
I've got success.
Who's got penalties?
It's only if you're weary. I think Baranor has the penalties. I'm just miserable.
I have
Baranor,
penalties, but I also have 1 die left as well. I don't know.
Orphin, have you got any dice left?
Am I still miserable?
No, you are.
Rufus has cheered me up.
Legit, but you're not actually miserable.
Okay, so travel at what DC or TN?
TN 16 to get back to Bree.
Can you only spend 1 dice at a time?
Yep.
All right. Well, I might as well spend it then. If Baranor's already got 1.
Yeah. I have
And Ben,
1.
are you going to spend yours?
I'm going.
Me?
Ooh, nice.
Oh, me.
We all made it.
Yeah, I did too, thankfully.
Oh,
Least
okay.
someone 22.
Excellent.
Oh, wait. And
All
19.
the way back to Bree. Okay. When you get to Bree itself, the town guards don't want to let Cleona in. They can
That does not go well with her.
there's something really wrong. What you are going to do is basically just rush as fast as you can back to Rivendell instead of spending a night in Bree.
Yeah, if they're like, she will like give them one of the dirtiest looks she can.
Yep.
Just pull forward, and that essence of shadow just comes with it.
So
She doesn't draw on it. It's just she can't help it. Just
What's that mean then? We got 1 more roll.
One more roll, TN 14.
14.
if we had been allowed into Bree, would we have had a chance to recuperate in some way? Is that
Yes.
right? And we've lost that. Okay, fine.
All right, 14. 14. Here we go.
Ooh.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. I will spend 1 point of hope, and I'll get my...
Take the endurance.
Travel roll is just travel fatigue.
Oh, right.
Yeah, if I failed, I'd be weary.
I'm going to take some fatigue too.
One more.
I'm almost fatigued. I'm 1 off right now. All right, only the Eye of Sauron that causes us problems.
Yeah, so Volley, don't roll an Eye of Sauron.
Bear with. Sorry.
No
No problem.
Being awkward. Okay, right. Travel. The
suspense.
14. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, 14.
Sorry for that.
Nice.
Yeah, it's all good.
Excellent. So you
All right.
make your way back from Bree, pushing yourselves as hard as you can, but not quite feeling the weight of of your gear and everything like that yet. You get to the fords at the entrance to the valley itself, and you see this woman. This is Arwen Undomiel, the daughter of Elrond, and all of you instantly recognize her. Everybody gains a point of hope just seeing her.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
It doesn't take me out of miserable, but I'm closer.
Right.
She is Orphin, you have seen her before, in fact, and last time you saw her, she was wearing a beautiful dress and in Lorien. This time she is geared up for traveling. She has, pants and that sort of light shirt and has a sword at her side, but she is still basically the most beautiful woman you have ever seen. And she says, "My fellows, please onward to Rivendell and allow me to escort you." And she turns her horse around and starts riding back. And nobody will have to make a travel roll to make their way back to the House of Elrond itself with her guidance.
Cool.
Even though this breath is taken away.
Yeah,
And-
even though Cleona is still miserable, she feels a little pep in her step now that she's closer to a place that's safe.
Once again, you come over the hill and see Rivendell itself, the House of Elrond, and Arwen hops off of her horse and it's taken away to the stables, and she walks forward, leading you all into the great hall towards Elrond. Elrond is sitting there with his 3 sons, Eladan and Elrohir and Estelle. And what do you guys do?
Cleona just gets halfway in there and just sinks to her knees and just off to the side and leans against a pillar and just breathes.
So, knowing how much my companions have been through, I'm going to try and put my very best. I'm quite exhausted, but I'm going to put my very best face on, and I'll say, "Well, Master Elrond, it's done."
Pull the ring out.
Pull the ring out. Saying anything?
Cleona's eyes snap open and zero in on the ring immediately, but she holds herself back.
I got to say, and what maybe this was resolved in the retcon, but what's our reward?
He didn't promise you anything.
Elrond looks quite a bit grimmer than he did the last time, and he just gestures at his son Estelle to go, and he sort of gestures at him, and it's clear that that sign means go and take the ring. And Estelle walks up and receives the ring from you, Barahir, and then walks back over to Elrond and says, "Father, what do we do with this?"
And before he answers, I'm going to say, and before you say anything, my lord, you must know we encountered a Nazgul on our way back.
Yeah. So
Cleona speaks up from the back and said, "We slew it."
Everybody roll me lore at TN 14 to see if you realize what's going to happen next.
Does Shadow Lore help lower that?
Shadow lore doesn't help. And this...
And that Nazgul is me!
Rufus, no idea. Cleona, you
I
don't...
got wounded.
Orphin, you're the only one who knows. You could have sworn that Elrond only had 2 sons.
Yeah, that is strange.
Eladan and Elror here are his sons by his wife, but his wife was killed by orcs. Who is... And you see Estelle.
Who's Estelle?
Estelle. Elrond
familiar.
says, "I have lied to you, Estelle. And for that I must apologize. Your mother was Gilrain, but your father is not Elrond. He was named Arathorn, and he died when you were a newborn. Your mother called you Estelle to protect you from the shadow, but your true name is Aragorn Elessar, the second of that name among the Dunedain. You are the rightful heir to the thrones of Gondor and Arnor." And Estelle is completely stunned, still holding out the ring for Elrond. He doesn't do anything, and Elrond, you can see there's a tear forming in one of his eyes as it hurts him so much to say this, but he reaches out and closes Estelle's hand around the ring of Barahir, and he says, "This ring is a marker of your birthright, not just to the thrones of the north and the south, but also," and he gestures, and you see Eladan holds out the platter with the shards of Narsil on it towards Estelle, and Estelle reaches out with the hand that is not holding the ring and holds up the hilt of Elendil's blade, Narsil, like he's doing in the picture. And Elrond says, "What remains of Elendil's blade is yours. It was forged by Telkar, the dwarf smith, in ages long past, and it shall be forged again." And if anybody wants to do anything to close out our session, this is the time to have your last say as these characters.
I immediately go to a knee and say, "My king, my life is yours."
And he, holding the hilt, walks over to you and taps you on the shoulder with the broken hilt of this sword and says, "Baranor, you are one of the mighty of my kin. It does me the greatest honor to accept your service as one of my knights." And you don't get any mechanical benefit because we're not playing these characters anymore, but you're
That's
now
okay.
a knight.
Yeah.
I don't think I deserve it, but thank you.
Cleona's like, "Who?"
Yeah, Rufus kind of taps Orphin and says, "Right, who's that then?"
Cleona's going to ask Elrond to see if she can get the Minister of the Elves to help with the shadow, because it's close to the surface on her. she took a wound from him, so I'm sure she's going to need attention.
And Varley definitely thought he was getting a reward.
Yep. Orphin, do you
Cool.
have anything?
Orphin is
Nupo.
he's spent. He just goes down onto one knee, and then probably just ends up going down onto both knees, just with his head in his hands, and then maybe stares off out of the window and looks at Aragorn and just looks around like it's all a bit too much for the poor old boy.
Yeah.
Rufus, how about
And-
that drink now?
We have just a tiny bit of an epilogue because this is something special, partly because Arwen, Elrond's daughter, has been living in the forest realm of Lothlorien for the past 30 years or so. Aragorn Elessar is 20 years old, so this is the first time that he has seen her, and you can see on his face that he is just as struck by her beauty as everyone else. And we sort of flash forward through the history of Aragorn's life. Aragorn leading the forces of the Free Peoples of Rohan and Gondor against the pirates of Umbar and the orcs of Mordor, and doing all these things as Thorongil, until we see Aragorn standing in Lothlorien with Arwen, and he puts the Ring of Barahir on her finger as a sign of the engagement, the betrothal between the two of them. And then we flash forward again and see more war, more bloody strife, Aragorn with reforged Anduril leading the charge, the last hope of the Free Peoples against the enemy. And then up at the top level of Minas Tirith, the wedding between the two of them, Arwen holding his hand with the Ring of Barahir on her finger.
Can I add one postscript?
Yes.
We end with a shot of the wide and barren open Bear of Forochel. And there are Lost children laughing and playing around the base of a crabapple tree.
Oh,
And how about some descendants of Cleona there as well, because she had the thought of asking the chief if he had a son to make a proposal with.
Nice, yeah.
Yes.
And they've got distinctly blonde hair and
there's,
blue eyes.
there's her axe like enshrined nearby.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
All right.
That was super
right.
fun, Aaron.
So let's get out of the game here, and then we'll make with the outro. Excellent. So for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for, I've been calling it the Ballad of Burrows. Because I'm a self-centered fucking idiot. But it is the, so the what do you call it? Another bearer of the ring. I mean, it's another fellowship of the ring. So that was really, really awesome. First off, Arlen, thank you so much for running this for us. I had a shit ton of fun. This was a really fun game and great story.
Oh, it was so much fun for me, guys. Thank you all for playing in my game. I know that it can be a hard sell to sell a new game to people that people don't know about, but you guys were all great about it.
I love it.
Perfectly willing.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
love
a
this
great
game.
system. It really works for the setting. It's really
Definitely. Yeah.
And
And thanks for everyone who were playing with it. Well, as well too. This was it was a really, really great fellowship.
Yeah, as the lore master this time, I feel like I should thank my players. So thank you, George and Jonathan and Kevin and Dave and Colin. I mentioned last time, I feel like a kid on Christmas when I get to run this game. It's so much fun.
It was great. Cleona got to do exactly what she was
like that again. And I when I first came up with the story, I thought I have to do this with you guys because it's going to be so cool.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
love that.
It was cool. It was cool.
Yeah,
man.
Definitely. Okay.
I'm a broken man now. I need to
Not even the elf. It's Colin.
Right.
I'm dead.
Yeah, no, I'm a broken man. I didn't kill the player. Jesus.
Oh, you've only got one shadow point. You're fine.
As always, folks, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section below, or you can reach me on Twitter at Dungeon Musings, or you can reach Arlen, our lore master, at Cows. What is it? Cows from Powys?
Mm-hmm.
So Cows, COWS, from FROM, Powys, POWS.
Powys.
WYS. In addition, if you want to reach me by email, you can reach me at dungeonmusings@gmail.com, and you can reach Arlen at...
Let's not put out my email on the
None of
internet.
your goddamn business. That's what you reach
Reach me on Twitter if you want to
That
talk.
is another. How dare you ask for his email address?
Well, it's my
However,
personal email that I've had for a
he
long
does
time.
actually. So he is available on Twitter and readily, we're very quickly responding as well too.
Yeah, and I'm in the comments of a lot of the Dungeon Musings videos. So if
that
you
is very
post
true
there,
too.
I will likely see it.
Yeah. So, but yes, otherwise, thanks again to Arlos. Thanks to everyone for playing and everyone who joined us for watching this at home. We hope you enjoyed this mini campaign, and we will see you again very soon. Until then, happy gaming.